Greetings, hello, welcome everyone, welcome to DevChatter. My name is Brendan, this channel here is DevChatter, and we're going to be doing an interesting one today. I will do our quick intro and get started because we're going to do a special stream today. So first off, welcome everyone, glad to see you're all here, hopefully you're having a fantastic day. It is a Friday, it is not normal for us here to do a Friday stream. However, I figured I'd do a fun one today. And we're starting things off right. What is love after all? Hello there, Nice. Thank you for the 2-month resub, Fixture Jake. Let's see. Who else is here today? So, welcome, Fixture Jake. Yes, I wish you could be here for the whole thing too, but keep in mind these are recorded, so you are welcome to watch the rest of the video. Hey, S&B, greetings, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. And, Parisian, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime sub. There you go. Yes, it is indeed a Friday stream. What? Hang on, what? Let me try that again, S&B. Why did that not? Let me... Okay, there we go. Reset the overlay, because for some reason we didn't get the hype there. But welcome. We're going to be doing a programming exercise on stream today. I know we normally do a... thank you for that Twitch Prime sub and the Tier 1 sub as well. Started your internship and getting into a fairly large ASP.NET project. Certainly interesting to get used to. Oh, yes, Fixture Jake. And how's Bazook? Greetings, welcome. Unless you're a mod, you do have to obey the countdowns, the countdown? Cooldown of our bot. Okay, so let's take a look. So the first thing here, I have set up a basic program. And I'll give the explanation of what we're building today, although there's a little bit of a description there. The project that we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just run here real fast so everyone here on the stream can see the Hello World run. Oh yes, Hello World. That's where we start all of our programs. And it opened on the other screen, so you can't even see it. Alright. Let's toss that on the screen so everybody can see that it does indeed say Hello World. Okay, so our program is building and it's running. That is this program right here. That's our C# project. In addition to that, I created a core project because that's where I want to put the logic. And I created a unit test project where we're going to do both unit test and integration test. Don't mind that I called it unit test and I'm going to put integration tests in there. It's a small project, so don't kill me for not wanting to make 2 of those. I'm sure no one will. Okay, so the programming exercise that we are working on today is like this. This program is going to receive from either standard input or from a referenced file input data that looks like this. Custom format, just simple file text information, and we are expected to give this output. The explanation of the input. This is registering people whose trips we're going to track. So this is, these are the people, and this is what they do. So we have a we have a driver named Sarah, a driver named Brendan, a driver named Michael. Sarah takes a trip that is a half an hour long, and it is 17.3 miles. Don't worry about the fact that I'm using miles. If you really wanted to do this exact same problem as, kilometers per hour or something like that, it would work exactly the same way, because the, units aren't even mentioned on here. Okay, so the next one here, we have a trip by Brendan, and that looks like Brendan went for an hour and 15 minutes and went 42 miles. So, yeah, that's a reasonable speed. And then this one was a 20-minute drive that was 21.8 miles. And so the expected output is how many miles total did the person drive and what was the average miles per hour. And these are sorted most miles to fewest miles. We can tell that because it's certainly not sorted by miles per hour, because otherwise Sarah would be on top. So pretty easy to do. There were instructions for all of this, but I've left those out. If there's something where I do have to mention that the instructions said something. I'll just comment about that. Additionally, we are supposed to ignore anything that was a less than 5 miles per hour and ignore anything that was greater than 100 miles per hour. Why? I don't know. I assumed that 5 miles per hour must be like walking, and if you're going 100 miles per hour, I question, what you're doing. So, let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing I want to do whenever I'm starting any kind of a project like this, we already did, and that was run it, make sure that I configured everything and I didn't do anything stupid. So first things first, you always run it, because there could be something as simple as, like, I didn't have .NET Core 3 installed, which I obviously do. So, the project worked. The next thing I did, because I'm doing this as a .NET Core 3 and C# 8 project, I am running this in the preview build. So you'll see preview up here. So this is the preview build of Visual Studio so that it's a little friendlier about the .NET Core 3 stuff and the C# 8 stuff that we're going to do. I have not made these projects C# 8 yet, and actually I'm going to commit right here with this set of data, and then we'll switch everything to C# 8 and commit again. So let's commit this. And yes, I am just going to commit to master for this because we are doing the initial setup, and for any project, the initial setup, I always commit to master because, well, driving in Germany is insane. 100 miles per hour is not that unusual. Yeah. House pursuit, but you are correct. But for this project, we are still going to ignore it and not worry about it. If you're going 100 miles per hour in the U.S., at least in the state where I am, you are gonna get a ticket. If a cop sees you. Like, that's just the short answer. They do not like you to go that fast. Alright, so we'll say initial project structure. Yeah, I promise I know how to type. Alright, so committed. And yes, I'm aware I committed unit test 1 and class 1. Don't worry about it. We're going to change those. Alright, so first thing I want to do, I want to go in here and I'm going to show all of you how you change the language and specify the specific one. So first off, open up the project screen, go to the build tab. This is the most important step right here. Make sure that you pick configuration all configurations, because if you don't, it will actually put it in not for all configurations. So I chose C# 8 because that's the one that we wanted to use. Actually, if I cancel out of that, I can show you. It's on latest supported minor version, which I think supported minor version. I'm not sure which one it was picking, but either way, we're just going to choose 8 and say, just give me C# 8. That's the one I want to use. Okay, so if we take a look at what that actually does, I will show you. So we'll double click on this. That adds language version 8, and that's literally all it does, which is awesome, by the way. Absolutely love what .NET Core does in terms of simplifying these project files. Let me show you what would have happened if I didn't choose this. If I instead, we'll do this for the other project. We'll do this for the core project so I can show you. Properties, and I'm going to go to the build tab. I'm going to leave it on active debug, and I'm going to choose language version 8. Click OK. We're going to save this, and let me open up core. Oh, it did it right. Ooh, it did it right. Well, there you go. It did it right. It used to be a problem. Maybe that's only a full framework problem. Really? Because it used to be an issue. Maybe they fixed it. Well, if they did, that's fantastic. I'm thrilled. Hooray. Thank you, Microsoft, because that used to be a problem. So, awesome. I'm thrilled. That's great. Either way, I'm adding language 8 to this. And then I'm going to check out what's going on in chat. Well, that's programming exercise done. What next? Yeah, exactly. No Autobahns in the U.S. Correct. You've heard of visitors from the U.S. They had a hard time to accommodate back to German traffic. Now, the funny thing, House Wasuk, I was in Germany one time and got a taxi ride from a guy, and we were going to the airport, and he picked me up super early in the morning, and he gets in the, like, we get everything in, you were talking in the cab, and he's like, you might be wondering where I got my, where I got my no accent at all in speaking English. And it was funny, because he's like, that would be New York City in the 50s. And it was funny, because I guess he, grew up in New York City and had been living in Germany since he was like 20. And so he's like, yep, so when he switches to English, he still just speaks exactly like an American. I was like, that's really impressive. So that was funny when you're cab drivers from the States and you're in Germany. Hello, greetings, welcome, Michael Jolly, hello. Did anybody else say hi in chat that I didn't acknowledge? I don't see anybody chiming in, but yes, feel free to play Hangman while we work on this. Okay, so we've set up that this is the language that we're going to be using in this project, and yeah. So we'll say switch to C#8, because why not commit that as one change? Next thing I want to do is I want to add our dependencies. So I set up this project. I want to connect the core project. So the main program, which is our command line program, is going to access our core project. And then the next thing is I want this unit test project to be able to test either of these. So just in case I need to test either one. Probably I should only do the core, but I'm going to wire it up just in case, because why not? So, wire up project references. Oh, looks like Hangman must have failed. What was the not word? the word was NUnit. Yeah, that was one of the evil words, because even if you get that it's like unit, you don't even know whether it's JUnit, XUnit, or NUnit. It's so evil. I forget when we came up with those. I know those added in chat when people were talking about, like, what's something really evil we could put in there, and that was the evil thing we came up with. Here, I'll let everybody play another game of Hangman, because I can start up a new one. Okay. So we want to test a couple of things. So first off, there are a couple of concepts that I know we're going to need right off the bat in order to get our initial test. So my goal, once I started, we've run it, we made sure it worked. The next thing that we want to do is make sure that we can get this sample output. And we're going to leave this as like the broken test that we are waiting the whole way until it works. We're going to leave this test broken every single time, because this is a programming exercise, not like an actual production piece of software. If I were doing this in production and knew that this was a sample input to a program that I was building, say it was going to be part of a larger pipeline, what I would do is I would have this as an ignored test, or as a test in a specific category that was not required for the success of the build while we're in development, so that I could see over time, eventually the test would pass, and we wouldn't have build, fail, or success dependent on it. So that's how we would set that up. And thanks, S&B. Have a good one. This will be recorded, so if anybody does miss it, keep in mind that you can catch it at another point by just watching for that. Okay, so we want to be able to get this tested. So the first thing that we need to do is set up a way to receive this data. We need to be able to extract out the dependency of file input and console write lines and read lines. So let's make a core IO folder, and inside of that, I am going to add an interface for, what's this interface going to be called? Let's call this the iConsole, and then add a new item, another interface that we're going to call iFileSystem. We'll call it iFileSystem because I don't have a better name for it right now. So we're going to make iFileSystem and iConsole, and these will both be public. So why the interface doesn't have them public, I don't know. It seems to me like you should make them public, and then, you know, if someone needs to restrict it in some way, they should do that. Because clearly I'm going to cross project lines here, so that's why an internal access modifier will not work for me, because I am going to put inside of our CLI a couple of new things. I'm going to create IO, and I'm just going to set up these wrappers right now because I think it makes sense to. So we're going to create a new class, and we're going to call it, instead of file system, because I don't want to bump into stuff, so I could call it file system, but I'm worried that a bunch of class names are going to collide with me, so I'm going to call it system files, which I know is such a significant difference. So we're going to reference our core IO namespace and reference I file system, like that. And now, you probably noticed I didn't deal with namespaces and things like that. This is a throwaway, like, programming exercise, so I'm not terribly worried about it. So we'll go with that. So it's going to be our file system, and then I need to make a console as well. So let's go ahead and make... Oh, what do we want to call our console? That's a good way to, like, define that this is, like, the console. Maybe just call it system console? Because it's the one on this system, kind of like I would say system clock for the system clock. So we'll call it system console. And it is going to be an iConsole. There we go. Get rid of the usings we're not doing, and we have the basic setup. Okay. Get rid of those, and get rid of those usings. Now, inside of this project, I want to say new system console. Yep, that's the one. Var console equals that. And now, instead of using that console, I'm going to use my console. And you might notice right off the bat, hey, I got a red squiggle. No problem. Paramedic, thanks very much for that 3-month resub. Oh man, your egg is hatching. Welcome to the actual hatched Chatosaurus crew. That guy's breaking out. If you type again, Paramedic, you're gonna see a nice new sub badge next to your name. That'll be fancy. Alright, so we've wired up this new dependency. We're now creating an iSystem console, and just to show everybody, we're going to put that console as the type. Because I want to make sure that when I generate this, it puts it on the interface. So WriteLine should now be on the iConsole interface. There it is, it's void string, and it said V, but I'm going to call that text. So WriteLine text. Let's go to System Console. We're going to make it public, even though it could be internal because we're really only going to use it here, but I'm going to make it public because I'm not, you know, really that much of a stickler for this. This is the only place it's going to use. Hey, there he is! That is a hatching Chatosaurus there, Paramedic. Very nice. So we're going to do a console WriteLine here. And we're going to pass in... Why is it really wanting to call this V? I guess it was because it created it at the other point, so... So we're going to say console WriteLine text. And now what we've done is we've created a wrapper around our console input. So the reason I'm doing this is because you can't test... I mean, you can, but it's hard. You can't unit test console output or input and those kinds of things very easily without wrapping them. So the easiest way to do that is this, because your console is a dependency. You probably noticed that I acknowledged another dependency that we're going to run into as well, and that one is the... actually, I didn't need to get rid of that. Close that. We're probably going to nuke those in a minute. That's the file system. So because I said that we can either receive standard input, or what we can do is we can do file system access. Either one's fine. We need to wrap the file system. So let's create that as well. So I called it system files. And in order to make this work, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say... file, oops, yeah, bool exists equals system.io.file.exists file, I'm gonna say file path, because that's what it is. And now that is a valid thing, right? Now I want to change this. Instead of calling the file system that way, through the file static method call there, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say file system equals new file, oops, I called it system file. There we go. So now I am going to put this here instead, and I am going to generate that method onto my interface. So now my iFileSystem interface has a bool exists, and this is going to be file path. And now I need to go to my system files and say, hey, go ahead and implement that. And it says public bool exists file path. I say, yep, that's correct. And now again, I want to make this just be a pass-through to the system IO file and say exists file path. Done. Okay, so now I can grab files out of the file system and I can write to the console, and neither of those is actually wired up to the static methods at all. Hey camper, thanks. We will see how it goes. Alright, so we've got those created. So I no longer need these pieces since I've wired this stuff together. So let's go ahead and run the program one more time. Still does hello world, that's fine. And let's go ahead and commit now. So this is setting up wrappers around console, around input and output. Set up IO wrappers and what is this? Pass-throughs? So we'll call it that. So we set up the IO wrappers and pass-throughs there. Let's see. Oh, camper, if you're still here, funny thing, I just finished watching through that the Final Fantasy X run from RPG Limit Break like a week or two ago, whenever that was. I gotta say that was quite fun with the everybody walks out of the room, because literally some of those breaks really are that long that you can just kind of walk away from the console. Final Fantasy X, fantastic game, but whew, man, does it have some videos that play for a while. Okay, so we have that working. Let's make our initial test here. So first off, this is called unit test 1. I want to make a sanity check test. Should always pass. This is my sanity check test right here. The reason it exists is because I want to make sure that there is always a test that is running and passing, always one, because that confirms to me that our test runner and everything like that is working fine. Without that, then there's really nothing. So I just want to confirm, hey, everything's working, everything's fine. Whoops, I did not mean to kill the output window. I meant to click on that button. Poor design. Thanks, Visual Studio. Camper, I saw you say something. Give me 1 second while I fix my windows that I messed up here. I need my output window back, please. Where's my output window? Right there. Okay. Alright, so we have one test, it's running, and it's passing. So there's our sanity check, should always pass. So funny thing about that was originally supposed to be a prank on me from the other end. Oh, nice! Well, that works, right? Yeah, why not? So, like, if you were going to be sitting there, like, you don't need help during that scene, so they could easily just walk out. Okay, so next thing that we want to test is I want to do a full system test on this. So let's, actually, you know what? I'm just going to do it here, and we'll extract it to its own file then. So we'll do a full system test, and then extract this to its own file. Yep, move that to its own file, full system test. Then this one is going to be called handles sample input output. So this basically is going to say, hey, given our sample input that we received, can you get me the sample output? And this is like the big, you know, like run the code, just make sure it all works kind of thing. Let's see, what is this? 100% speedrun, 90 hours. Plutonin, yeah, there are some games that'd be crazy to 100%. I'd rather see if I could manage sleeping for that long than running a game. If it's constantly running, do you recommend every 6 seconds or 10 or something along those lines? Chef, constantly running which thing? I'm not gonna have anything that's like continuously running. We're not gonna like live unit test this if that's what you mean. I just mean I want this basically to run. So, so what I'm gonna try to do here is this. I don't know whether this is gonna work. I'm gonna do new, actually, let's, what is it? Is it, program? Let me see if I can get away with this. We're going to make that class public. And this public as well. Because they should be able to be. So we're going to say trip tracker. So we're going to say program. Whoops, nope, not that one. That one. Main. And the args we're going to pass in is going to be file name. Oh, it's a, yeah, because it's an array and it's not a params array, I actually have to say that it is a new array of string. Nice thing, if any of you don't know this in C#, you do not actually have to specify the type on this array. So notice all I said was new and then array, and it can actually interpret automatically that this must be a string array because all the objects in it are strings. So no problem, Chef. So we're gonna run that. However, I don't know if that's gonna work, even if I do this, because I need some way of passing in the mock objects. Yeah, because then we're gonna have that. Okay. Do we want to do it that way? Because I need to tell it to use my objects instead. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give program a couple of static instances of the console object. So we're gonna make this a field on it. So we're gonna do that. This is going to be a prop, actually. It's gonna be a property iConsole that we're gonna call hilariously console, and then I'm gonna smack myself later because I'm not gonna call it that, because that's only gonna cause me problems if I include the word system in here. So we're gonna call that my my console. You know what? I'm gonna break my own rule, and we're gonna change that. It's gonna be a lowercase console. Only because I don't want to have a collision on the name with this. So we're going to have a public static console like that. And then we're going to have an iFile system that's going to be files. And it's going to be a new system files like that. And then these are going to be the properties that we're going to use, and the reason why is because I can override these before running main. So we can then say program.console equals... I did not include MOQ yet, so we're going to include that. Or I could do a fake. Ooh, do I mock or do I fake? Do I mock or do I fake? We're going to do fakes. Fakes... and if we decide we need mocks, we'll switch to them. So this is going to be fake console. Public fake console iConsole. Nope, iConsole. Like that. And then when we implement this, when we do a write line, we're just going to say written lines add text. So we're going to create a property on this called written lines, and it is going to be a list of string so that we can do that little add thing to it. So it'll just be an empty list of string that people can add lines to, and then you can check it to see what lines are in there. So there's our fake console. So notice that this fake is so much easier than if I mocked it, because if I do a mock, there's some extra complexity that I have to add to every test, whereas if I do a little fake here, it's actually still pretty darn easy. So use a mock if it's a complicated interaction that you need to deal with, and if it's really the call to it that you care about. If you just care about a little bit of state and to check and see what value is passed in there, a lot of times a fake is going to get you more mileage and be a little bit easier. But again, choose that based on your circumstance. For anybody that is wondering which one you should go with, just make a good judgment call is the best thing I can tell you. Because there's certainly a case to be made for both. They serve a purpose. Let's say fake files, because that's a great name for it, fake files. Implement, file path, and property. Exists returns. So exists returns. There we go. There we go. So this fake just literally returns that value. That one does that. So essentially, when we run this, we can just say, hey, this is the value you're going to return, and we can check and see what value people put through it. Super, super simple way of checking that. So, not that one. We don't need unit test 1, which actually I need to rename that file to sanity check. Okay. Just so I don't try to use it. Okay, so program console equals new fake console. And program dot files equals new fake files. Okay, these have a couple of properties that I want to set. Fake console does not have any properties I want to set. Brendan, what are you doing? This one, however, does. I want to say exists returns true. Okay. Whoops. Alright, so now when we run this, it should call our console and our files, and I want to add in fluent assertions. Also, fake can be useful if you find yourself setting up the same mocks in several places. Exactly, Renee. That's exactly when a fake comes in handy, is if there's a reasonable amount of setup to make your mocks work all the time. Most of the time you can get away with using a simple fake, and it's a little bit easier to use. Tadarium, welcome. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated. Okay. So we have our fake console and our fake files, and the nice thing is because I stored them here and set them here, I can still use them off of those properties, and it should be fine. So let's go ahead and try that. So we will assert equal and you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna say program.console. Why do I not have written lines? Oh, because it doesn't know it's a fake console. Yeah, because I didn't actually save it anywhere. Whoops. Introduce local fake console. Yeah, we'll do that. Well, in that case, I'm going to do something awful. And I'm going to laugh about it, and you are all going to laugh about it too, because it's good. Alright, we're going to do something hilarious and awful. I hope everybody's paying attention, because this is going to be funny. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say console program.files equals console. Oh, I feel so evil sometimes because that was too fun not to do. Alright, we're going to do that, and then we're going to say fake console dot written lines, that one, count. So let's do that to start with, because this isn't really the, wait, what's this? Oh, you're right, I could assert single that. Derp. Good suggestion thing. Test Explorer, run all the tests, please. Okay, there we go, build succeeded, that's looking good. So, test is passing, hooray. That didn't really test anything, I know. Yeah, you like that, Renee? No, what I could do is I could just make this I want to actually make this a little bit different than what it is. Realistically, if I were doing this, I would extract this out as a method. Now see, that's funny, it's returning back fake console because that's the only one I'm doing. Let's call this setup fakes. So realistically, I should do this, and then it should actually return back a fake console and a fake files like this, and it should return back fake console and fake files like this, and then I should not do this part with the construction and the deconstruction, realistically. But out here, what I would do is this. I would say var fake console and fake files. So that I actually don't mind. So that is setting up my two fakes, building it like this, and then this should not really be written this way. I was just kidding, because it was funny. I know you thought it was funny. You were like, he did construction and deconstruction of a tuple there. Yes, I did. Alright, so all kidding aside, this is how I would actually write it, is I would set this up and I would deconstruct into this. I do like that syntax of, hey, you set up multiple objects for your test, why not return them back as a tuple and deconstruct them into the objects? If you care a lot about matching the types, you can use the explicit types instead of var, and it'll set it up like this. But since I know that they're both just fakes, I am going to do it like this because I don't think it's as important. I think we'll know that they're the fake objects, just because it's called fake console and fake files. So I think we'll figure it out. Either way, let's run the code again and make sure it's all working. Alright, so the build works. Test pass, test pass. Fantastic. Alright, so let's call this setup initial. This is the creation of the fakes. Okay, so this is setup initial full system tests. Test. Okay. That's the test. It doesn't really test anything yet. So I need to give it the sample input and the sample output. So we're going to go grab that. Here's our sample input that we put right here. And let's jump over to the full system test file. We are going to make this a private constant string. And we'll call this sample input. We're going to use an @, which is the way to tell C# that, hey, we're going to have values in this, like new lines and things, that I want you to actually still consider this to be the same string, despite the fact that I'm going to do this. And just for clarity, because I don't want to have a whole bunch of extra white space on this, because we were not told that there would be extra white space, I'm going to remove the extra white space. So this is going to be our string. I'm going to write it like this so that we can see, hey, there's no extra white space, there's no extra line on the end, this is the actual structure. Now, I could put this in a file instead of having it here hard-coded. We probably will have a sample file so that we can actually do that check, but this will be good enough for now. Okay, so there's our sample input. Our expected output, I want to treat as separate lines. So we should have separate lines for the expected output, so these. So let's do this. Private read only, because this is going to be a class, so we can't constant it. List of string, which again we need system collections generic, and we're going to say expected output equals a new list of string, and the objects for that list are going to be right here. And let's do this. Okay, so that looks like 3 separate lines that we're expecting. Just like that. Okay, cool. Now the question is, can I do a nice collection assert on that? I'm going to assume that I can and get away with it, and if we get to the point where I expect the test to pass and it's not, we'll fix that at that point. Is it not collection assert? I swear it's collection assert. Maybe I'm thinking of, what? Isn't it collection assert? Maybe I'm misremembering it. Hang on, maybe I'm smoking something. I don't know. Am I misremembering? I must just be remembering how... Yeah, I'm remembering how you do it in NUnit, and you do that, and you pass in 2 things. Yeah, so... I guess we just do an assert equal on the collections, and it'll figure it out. Okay. The expected is going to be expected output and written lines. So there we go. Shouldy or fluent assertions are great tools. Yeah, coding Gorilla. I use fluent assertions for most of the stuff that I do. Actually, let me go just gank that from another one of my projects. Hang on one sec. I'm gonna grab fluent assertions and toss that in here. There we go. So we'll say fake console dot written lines dot should there we go be would it be equivalent to current collection contain all the same elements in the same order as the collection identified by expected. Yeah, okay. So we'll do that. Should equal expected output. So I think that's the one that we actually want for that. If I'm remembering correctly. Fireman. Hang on. Yeah, +1 for fluent assertions. Yes, I love fluent assertions. They're much better. Just started your coding journey started with HTML and CSS. Making projects right now. What languages should you branch into to get a job? Fireman. I would recommend you take a look at JavaScript, being the next thing that's closely related to HTML and CSS. So you can definitely get a job as a front-end developer if you already have those skills. Keep in mind that there are a lot of programming languages that are very popular, and it's going to be dependent on the area that you live in for which language is going to get you the most bang for your buck. In some places, that language is going to be C#. In some places, it's going to be Java. In some places, it'll be Python. You could be in a place where it's going to be Ruby, for example. Like, there are a lot of different options. I would find out what's popular in your area. But the recommendation I'd make to anybody is make sure you know a front-end framework, so know like JavaScript and a framework that goes along with it, and know a back-end framework and a language that goes along with it. So here on our stream, we do ASP.NET Core with C# primarily, and JavaScript and Vue as our front-end. But really, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Oh, yes, and Coding Gorilla is right. TypeScript is also another good option. I obviously can't mention all the languages. There are way too many. But realistically, find the ones that are popular in your area, and that's going to be the best place to really find yourself a job. It might be PHP, for example, too. It's just whatever's in your area. And to find that out, I would recommend going to some of your local user groups and find out what people are using there. So, and yes, Blazor is another option for things. There's so many choices. Be equivalent to. Helix Knight, you think it's be equivalent to that I should be using? I'm not terribly worried about it. If string equality, I think should work because of the fact that I used strings. I think we'll be okay, but we'll find out. Either way, thank you everybody for chiming in with information for Fireman there, because that is a really big thing to jump into programming. So welcome. I hope you do enjoy the programming world. So we are glad to have you. So I said the written line should be that, which it's going to do. The couple of things that I want to make sure I set up before we call main is I need to say fake files. You know what? I need to extract this as a parameter. The return value should be, well, actually I said that would be the return value. Hang on. Fake files dot, text to, we'll say text in file equals sample input. Which now someone's going to laugh because I'm just creating this thing here, this string text in file. That's fine because I know what else I need to do here. So let's go back to our program, and I want to say, as the other step in here, I want to say args well, we'll just do args 0. Yeah, we'll just assume that we no, I'm gonna add system link. We're gonna do it using system.link. This might get extracted somewhere else later, so don't worry about the fact that I'm putting this right inside a program. We're going to say first or default, and we're going to call this string file name equals that. So someone's going to pass us the file name of a file that contains this stuff, and I'm going to say files if files.exists file path. Oops, I called it file name. That's fine. If it exists, then what I want to do is I want to say files dot read all lines, I think is what it is. Let me confirm. File dot whoops. Read all text. No, I want read all lines, I think. Yeah, let's read all lines. That's a better way to go. And I'm just going to use the synchronous one because this is a program that's just going. Yeah, Steve, I should be here for a while. Because I want to write this thing. So this is going to get me back a... So hopefully you're going to stick around, Steve. And yes, our Dallas is Steve, in case anybody didn't know that. Var lines equals that. I'm going to explicitly define that type as a string array because now I can do files. So the cool thing about this is notice I'm putting the actual file like type in there, and then what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of system IO so that I can make sure that I match it, because I'm really explicitly trying to wrap it here just because it is a dependency that I know exists and I'm only wrapping it to test it. I'm not trying to create my own interface. Now I can adjust the interface wherever I want to, but for these simple things, I really don't. So let's go to file system. So we have, so you called it file name. I'm going to call it file path because I want to be consistent between those two. So read all lines is going to return back a string array. So let's implement that as well. So file path. And we are going to do a file. Oh, this is the fake one. Derp. This is the fake one. We're going to say returns back textinfile.split based on the new line character. So remember, we put that in as a whole big string that we had in our text. So let's take a look at that real fast. It looks like this. So what I just said is, hey, split on this. So it's going to give me this as a string, and this is a string, and this is a string, and this, and this, and this. Now, what I can also do is if we do a read all text or a standard input access of that same data, then I need the new lines to be in there. So in this case, I'm sort of just faking the fact that it's going to give it to me a line at a time. Awesome, Ardalis. Welcome, developers from Ardalis' channel. I will welcome you more once you're actually in here, because you might catch an ad on your way in. Steve probably didn't, because usually the actual host of a raid doesn't end up with that. And Ardalis actually has the power to shout out himself there. Nice. He totally does too. Let's see. I want to open up my system files because I need to make this implement the interface as well. And this one is just our pass-through. So we're going to say file read all lines and file path. And then that's fine. So now we should be all wired back together. Everything should run again. And what I want to do is this, just to confirm that everything's going and everything's working. We're going to go into our program, and instead of doing a console write line of hello world, I am going to do a console write line of those lines that we read in. So we're just going to do a quick for each loop on string line string lines. And welcome everybody from Ardalis' channel. Greetings, hello, the Freeze team. I don't know who else is here, Coated Beard, but anybody that was hanging out with Steve, welcome. You have traveled across the internet about 5 miles from over that direction, roughly speaking. That's the way to Ardalis' house. So welcome. My name is Brendan. I am the host of DevChatter here on Twitch, and we are glad to have you here. So if you are enjoying Steve's stream, then you probably like C# and JavaScript as well. Oh, you're at the office? Oh man, in that case, it's not that way 5 miles. It's that way 5 miles. And I'm not kidding. It is 5 miles behind me is the way to where Steve is right now then. So that's crazy far away. Crazy far. I mean, some of the people in the channel here probably don't even know really how far a mile is because they're used to kilometers. It's just totally crazy. It's foreign numbers even. Foreign numbers, foreign measurements. That's the word I was going for. So we're not going to say hello world, we're going to say line. So let's see what this output is when it tells us that our assertion failed. So run the code. Well, yeah, because that should read in the lines, run it, and do that. So let's take a look. Crossing those fingers. Why did that succeed? That should have failed horribly. Did this rebuild? What are you even running? Surly Dev, hey, greetings. I was multiplying by 1.6 as you were talking. Very good, Lynx Lumps. There we go. This time it really ran it and failed as expected. It must not have been doing a rebuild when I did a run all in there. Okay. Expected it to be this. What did we actually get? That didn't give me the detail over there. That's weird. Okay, so expected it to be that line, and that line, but what it actually got was those pieces. That looks perfect! That is actually fantastic. Let me make sure that well, No, because I don't want to do it that way. But yeah, no, it's failing for exactly the right reason. That's not the right data. So, okay, cool. So now I just want to make it so that we don't do a write line until we're ready to do a write line. So, nice. Okay, so let's get this committed. So this is the actual system test. Set up the actual full system test. So this is the actual full system test that we're trying to build. Once we get this passing, then our code is pretty much done. So, hooray! We're where we are when, like, if I'm setting up a kata for people, this is the point that I usually like to start them. Like, yeah, your code's ready, now just build the thing that does the work. So, okay. Let's build the thing that does the work. So I want to put inside of my core project something that actually does this, and for lack of a better name, so we have this, it's going to be called the tracker, maybe? I don't know. Oh, Visual Studio, when are you going to figure out that when I rename a class that has a matching file name, that you should rename the file name with it? I would really like you to figure that out sooner rather than later. Okay, so once I set this up, I want to do a couple of things. Let's say process all input. Okay, that is reasonable for now. String away, we'll say all lines is what it is. Someone's saying something to me. Writer does that. Yeah, I know, Caliber. So has Resharper's extension in Visual Studio for like ever. Yes, his coding gorilla says, yeah, Writer is basically like Resharper as its own editor. Yes, it figures it out as soon as you install Resharper. So the funny thing being, because I'm in my preview build here, that's the only reason I don't have Resharper running. I've been a Resharper fanatic for about a decade now, and it is so hard to program without it. I don't think it's actually worth trying to program without it in a lot of cases, because I think you're better off just using it, but hey. That's just me. Okay, so let's set this up to use our console wrapper, because I want to hide all that stuff in here. So I've sort of written this so that we're going to take in the lines. We can do that file checking out in program. That's fine. I'm not too worried about that. But then I want to pass, and maybe we'll put it somewhere else, but then I want to pass it into here to actually do all of the work, which means I actually need our console to be in here. So this is going to be iConsole. We're going to call it console, and we are going to create a field called console. And console, the field is going to come down here and be the actual tool that we use. So, hang on. Yes, yes, I am also enlightened. Going with C# with Resharper to Golang and any IDE. Yes, exactly. As soon as you don't have all the fancy tooling that does all the refactoring and everything like that for you, it's so hard. Yeah, exactly, Coding Gorilla. That's the thing that kills me, is they add in a lot of the features of Resharper, but they're always missing some of the core ones. I saw in a preview build that someone was tweeting about, there are some fantastic updates coming to the test runner in Visual Studio, so I'm looking forward to seeing those improvements. It looks really nice. The new test runner does look good, so awesome job to that team for the hard work there. Okay, so this, I think, is what we actually want to test, so I'm going to leave this alone. I think this is where I want to do the work, but for now, I want to dive further in and start at a lower level so we can get some unit tests. We have a test that's supposed to run this whole thing. Let's actually put this out here. So I'm going to say new tracker. Using core. And it needs to take in the console. public, derp var tracker equals new tracker, and there we go. And I'm going to say tracker dot process all input, and there's the lines. Okay, so that's literally what I want main to be doing at this point. I want main to just run this, and I'm going to call that probably pretty good. I might be basically done with that. I mean, there'll be more initialization because I'm going to put more dependencies inside the tracker. But I think really all we're going to do is grab the data, which is what this is, and we may add complexity to that as well, but then just process the input, and it should be good. So let's dive in a little lower. I suspect the Visual Studio team, Surly's, hold back from replicating the third-party tools function for fear of alienating third-party devs. Oh, that could be Surly. Except the funny thing is, there seems to have been a significant feud between like Visual Studio and ReSharper at one point. The thing that bugs me is how frequently Visual Studio just tries to, in order to absolve themselves of the problems of ReSharper running slowly, they basically just trash it and say like, ReSharper's causing your slowdown, that's not us. And I'm kind of like, okay guys, yeah, I know ReSharper's causing the slowdown. You could say that without being quite so mean about it. Like, I don't know what the deal is between them, but I would like it if they just got along and worked together, because I want to use all their products. Visual Studio is fantastic, ReSharper is fantastic, I want to use them all. Like, can we just make more better stuff together and just be happy about it? That sounds great. Okay, so we have this data, I want to parse it, so let's work on parsing the data and see if we can't make that interesting. So, parsing sounds like a fantastic word for that. So we're going to make parsing, and because we're going to make parsing, we're going to make a parsing folder down here. So first off, core, because I'm going to be testing the core stuff, and then I'm going to make a folder for parsing. Yeah, Voight, exactly. All of us want to see Visual Studio and ReSharper and CodeRush and all of the tools work better together and just make all of our coding better, because that's really what all of those things do, is they make us better at writing our code. Let's see. Goodbye message. I don't need to update my live share right now. I'm not using it at the moment. Okay, so I want to I want to make two parsers. First off, I'm going to make a class, and we're just going to call it class 1 for now, because I haven't named it. Actually, I think I'm going to make an interface first. We're going to parse records. So that makes this a public class drive record parser. It's an iRecord parser. And this will be a trip record parser. Okay. So here's my thinking. My thought on this program is, if we look at the sample input, where is it? Where is it? Yeah, no. We have more than one class implementing the interface. It's in program. So this has driver and trip. I would expect that probably the way that this code is going to advance over time is there are going to be other ways of there are other types of data that we're going to receive as input. Seems like a logical thing. Like this program seems too simple, and so as a result, I would expect that what is going to happen over time is we're going to receive more types of data input. So it makes sense to me that we would want to make an extension point be the type of data that we can parse. So we'll start it off like that. Let's see. In my experience with the latest Studio update, ReSharper seems to have slowed down a lot. That would not surprise me, Renee. I just want to use the IDE functional IDE and not have to worry about the performance from using a third-party tool. Cal Raven, I agree. Renee, at work you use ReSharper, at home you use DevExpress. Oh, you use CodeRush at home. CodeRush fan, yes, CodeRush. Funny thing, Mark got me using CodeRush before I used ReSharper, and then I tried ReSharper and I was like, oh, no, I like this approach of doing refactorings rather than speeding up my code, which I thought was great. Surly Dev, thanks for that follow. You weren't following me already? Either way, welcome. And Leylandon, which I'm hoping I pronounced that correctly. Welcome, thanks for following. Hello, greetings. Yeah, CodeRush and ReSharper are they take a different approach. So either way, they're both fantastic. I like them both. I have licenses to both CodeRush and ReSharper that I'm very glad I have, because they're both quite nice products. Okay, so because it has its own language. Yes, exactly. As Coding Gorilla mentions, the problem is that ReSharper does its own parsing of everything. So the problem is when you have both Visual Studio doing the Roslyn parsing and ReSharper doing it, they kind of fight with each other and it gets bad. Zacharian, I'm guessing. Welcome, thanks for that follow. And well, where the watermelons grow, thanks for that follow as well. Much appreciated, both of you. Okay, let's see. First things first. There is a significant property about them, and that is that they each have an identifier. So I'm going to create that identifier, and should parse, can parse. Yeah, can parse the line, string line. Okay. What do these lines look like? So it's word and word. So we're going to say you can parse it as long as that first word is there, then that means it applies to you. The first word is the identifier. So, can parse, and I'm waiting for someone to notice. Let me know when you all notice what I'm doing here. Because this is awesome. Janisku, this is getting recorded, yes. Okay, so line, I want to say... Zacharian, yes, hello, greetings. I want to say... identifier.length. Oh, hang on, wait, before I do that, I just realized something else I need to do. I need to help myself out here. I'm going to do something I always do for myself. Anyone that's familiar with my projects is going to recognize what I'm about to do. Public, static, class. That's right, we love public static class, and we're going to call this public static bool equals ignore case. This string A, string B. A equals B, string comparison. Yes. I really don't think it's going to matter, but sure. Turn that. I'm going to check chat because I see a whole lot of stuff happening in chat, so give me 1 second here. Because I'm hoping someone figured out something. No, it's just someone started up rock, paper, scissors. What you're doing is wrong, please don't. Oh, thanks, Voight. Much appreciated. You're adding default implementations via an interface. Yeah! Oh, that is exactly what I was waiting for everybody to notice. I'm glad someone noticed I was doing it. I was worried people wouldn't spot that and would forget the fact that that was an interface. And oh, that was good. All right, equals ignore case. Identifier. So basically, what I'm going to say is, if the first set of characters on your thing is this, which by the way is the same thing as doing like a string starts with, except that I don't think I can do a starts with an ignore case as well, and I want to do that just in case because I'm a stickler for not really caring about case. I just like when it's like, oh yeah, case matters. It's like, really on the input it does. I mean, I understand that this is coming from a computer, not a person, so the case should be consistent, but I also feel like if someone changes the casing of this between the two things, that should be fine. Yeah, so... hey, C sharp 3. I gotta show it! Most people haven't even seen the syntax. Yeah, no, the idea of a default implementation is kind of a crazy one. So I should explain. The reason why they added the feature is not actually the case that I'm using here. It was really added for you have an existing interface, you have a bunch of implementations of it, you want to add something in the interface, but you don't want to have to go put it everywhere. So you add a default implementation so you don't have a wide-ranging impact that hits all the other classes. That's really what it is. And yes, House Basuk, evil DevChatter does apply, because occasionally I like doing things just because they're evil and fun. Where evil is a very light-hearted evil. This is just a side little project. It's a, little thing. It doesn't, like, this isn't going anywhere. Don't like the default, yeah. Yep. That's part of why I'm doing it. Do I? Can parse. So I need to make oh, what a day. What a lovely day. Parsed, you know what, I'm gonna do this for now. I'm gonna say parsed record, and we're gonna call it parse record. No, oh, those names are too close. I've been porting a WinForms app to Blazor. Have to say it's been glorious. Coated Beard, that's awesome. That's really cool. Nakoma, thank you for that follow, much appreciated. Anybody else that's in here and enjoying the stream at all, please be sure to follow. It's the best way to get notified when we go live. Let's make our model objects, because I want to get the structure and then we can test this. Model or models? Models. It's, I certainly didn't want that on the end. Model. And add a new class that we're going to call, alright, it's a record. Congratulations, it's just a record. Because I don't have a great name for it, because the domain's kind of non-specific for this, so realistically we could hopefully get a better one. So we're going to create record, record, parse record, and we're going to parse the record out of a line. And then that will be the one that we actually use. And so then these can get created. So this is going to be derive, no, drive, and then this one is going to be trip. So we have trip and we have drive, and then parse record is going to be pretty simple too, but we're not going to worry about those just yet. For now, let's get these into their own files. Drive record, parse record, okay. And the iRecord parser is going to be the name of class 1. Congratulations, file, you've been renamed. Okay. Caliber. I actually do some of that for some of my side projects, but not frequently. It is rare in the C# world that you get to do all that much work with pointers. I have a few friends that get to do it a lot more than I do, just because of the domains that they work in. But most of my code is managed code, you know, safe stuff. We're not dealing with any unsafe or really memory management at all. It's not a huge thing within the C# world. You do it every once in a while, but it's the exception, not the rule. Okay, so I want to do a commit, and then I want to look at adding some tests for this. So we've removed class 1, we've added in extensions for that. So this is... you know what? I see this problem right here. I'm not going to commit that one. That one's not ready to go because it's just creating a folder and I'm not really doing that. So let's say parsing skeleton, creating, we'll say stubbing out the parsing code. So that's the code that's going to do our parsing. We haven't tested it. Like, notice none of it's done. It's all throwing not implemented exceptions. We're not doing it. So, like, this is not like I'm skipping TDD entirely. I'm just trying to flesh out in my mind, how are these pieces going to work until I can get to a piece where I say, hey, that's ripe for a unit test. Let's implement that and see what we can do. And we're sort of just thinking through how do we want to call it. So I do feel like I want to have pieces that separately parse the lines that are separate. And inside the tracker, I feel like the tracker is probably what is going to have like an overall parser or like an input parser maybe? Ooh, do I like the whole name input parser? I don't like input parser. That's too, it's input-y. So that's a trip record parser. Yeesh. All right, well, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. Interface. No. Just no. No interface. No interface. This is gonna be a class. I don't like that name. I don't like that name. I'll need a better name. We'll need a better name. Hang on. Fun thing though, C# is close to C, that you can pretty much copy-paste a file of C code and mark the functions unsafe and it will work. Yes. Watermelons, you're not totally wrong. They are very similar languages. The fun thing is that if you actually write some code in C or C++, you can call that code from C# also. So you can easily call that code and have methods so it feels like you're calling a library that was written in C#, and you can actually just call out to libraries written in other languages. So that's totally a thing as well if you want to get into unsafe code. I interact a lot with PLC library that's mostly unsafe code, but it's contained in our wrapper library. Yeah, so as Renee mentions, most of the time if you're doing that in the C# world, you have it wrapped and hidden away so that the rest of your code doesn't get muddied in that unsafe world. So C# was written this way to make a lot of the stuff we do easy. And by easy I mean less dangerous. Here's a copy of the open source C. There you go. Not a link I'm going to click while I'm on the stream. So how do we want to do this? This thing is going to have a constructor. And again, we're not calling this. I'm just fleshing out how it's going to work. Everything's going to throw not implemented exceptions. I just want to get the basic structure in place, and then I'll test these pieces. So we're going to say params. What's it called? Record parser array, and we're going to call this our parsers, record parsers. These are our record parsers, which we are going to store in a property that's not going to be public. Record parsers. public something to do not void, define a type. I don't know what that type's going to be yet. Okay. Parse all is not going to be that. It's going to be... array or a list? It'll be an I list, then it's both. Lines. Because our read stuff takes arrays, but I tend to like working with lists most of the time, so we'll make it an I list and then we don't have to deal with it. It can be either one. So our tracker will call the parser, so this needs an input parser. Excuse me, hang on. Sorry about that, everyone. Had a nice loud sneeze. Had to blow my nose. I probably have like a cold that I picked up from my son who was sick earlier this week. That's actually why I missed some streams. But Zakaron, you asked what keyboard I use. I use one of these. It is a Microsoft Sculpt. I like it. It's got a hole in it. Hi. So works pretty well. So, battery-powered, wireless. Every once in a while, give me trouble, but I like it. So we're going to use our input parser, which we're going to call input parser, and we're going to define that as a field. And don't ask me how I'm deciding between field and private property on that. Because I don't really know. Var the thing it returns equals input parser dot parse all lines. Which it's complaining because that's a void and I had it return something. And then I'm going to, for each record in, if you trust zsurd, let's see, the thing it returns dot records. And then we want to say, say console write line, and for now we'll do record dot toString. Okay, so we have some types to define, and then we can wire these together and start working on the tests for all these various pieces and actually make them work. But I think this basic structure will be good. So what does parse all return? These aren't records, are they? Are they records? Yeah, I guess they can be records. The thing it returns. What does it return? This will be a model. So we're going to say public class report And report is going to have a property that is a list of record that we're going to call records. There we go. So we'll parse a report that'll contain records, and then we will... So this is going to return a report. Yeah, the names are kind of cruddy, but this is a sort of a loose domain model. I don't have much for it, and I'm trying not to a little bit too, just because I'm doing this on stream. So I will return a new report, no, I'm not going to return a report. I'm just going to throw an unimplemented exception. Who am I kidding? There we go. Throw a new non-implemented exception using system. There we go. You moved your own file, please. Okay. Does everything compile right now? Whoops. Did I try to pull that out twice? Oh my god, I must have pulled it out twice. That's weird. There's two of it. I blame Visual Studio. It's Visual Studio's fault. Oh! Yep, we need to pass in the input parser. Alright, so that'll be using an input parser. Okay. Everything compiles. User error. Yep, pebcac. Clearly. Thank you. Yes. The problem exists somewhere between the keyboard and the chair. I think it's the air. There's air between them. I think that's what messed it up. Clearly, I didn't make the mistake. That's not possible. Me fail English? That's impossible. Hey, we got a not implemented exception. Nice. That's what we expect to see, actually. Funny enough. Because we are calling that now, and that's fine. That's our test that we're not expecting to pass until we're basically done. So I created this core parsing folder that I now want to use. So before I do that, let's commit some more of this creating the structure. Stubbing out more stuff. Stubbing out, what am I stubbing out? Stubbing out, that's stubbing out the parse all. Yeah, we're stubbing parse all. There we go. Okay, so parsing. I want to do a little bit of testing of our can parse method. So let's do that first. So parsing, we're gonna say this is the record parser tests. I'm going to put them all in the same folder rather than splitting them up by type, because I think each one is going to be so small that this is the approach that we're going to want to take. So we said can parse, I think? So can parse should. Who was that? Wilmir74, welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. Hope you're enjoying the stream. And anybody else that's enjoying the stream, be sure to click that follow button if you want to get notified when we go live. I haven't clicked these buttons in a while, so I'm going to click these buttons here into the chat. Hopefully my bot will respond with nice stuff. Links to our Discord, our GitHub, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter here on DevChatter. So can parse should. Let's say can parse should. Public void do something given something. Those are the conditions I usually like setting up. That's the way I like to name my my test methods. So you know, something should do something given something. And it doesn't have to match that exactly, but that's the rough idea. In some way I want to define what we're checking so that anybody can read this and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes for like these full system tests and things like that, I'm just saying handle sample output and you know, as expected, because there would be too much text to define everything we're verifying on that, because that is a full system test, not an individual unit test. For a unit test, you can get away with these names. So what I want to do is I want to make a record parser. Now, actually, I do. I'm going to show you guys something. I almost messed this up, but here, watch. You're going to want to see this if you want to see how what did I call it? Where are my record parsers? Drive record parser. I'm going to mess this up right now so that you all can see how it messes up. For anyone that was paying attention earlier to our default implementation in our interface, let's call this, that's our parser. It equals one of these. Now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say parser.canParse. Oh, what is that? CanParse isn't here? Oh no! And so I had heard a long time ago that you had to, like, cast it, which is kind of true. I can cast this as an iRecord parser like this. TwitchMK! Hey! Thanks for that. That is a 2-month resub. Keep it the good work. Will there be any future MySQL basics? I'm not planning on doing any MySQL basics, but there's no reason we can't connect EF Core to a MySQL database at some point. And thanks for that 2-month resub. Always appreciated. Realistically, when we're using an ORM, the connection to a MySQL versus a SQL Server versus a SQLite versus really anything else is pretty much the same. Syntactically, you'll get a little bit of a difference between the different databases in like what they use as escape characters for avoiding reserved table names, words, and things like that. But realistically, they work pretty much the same way. What was I doing? I was doing that, and then look, CanParse works all of a sudden. So you have to change the type. But there was a way around doing that bit of complexity in that I could have just made it, I could have just stored it as one to begin with. So I can say parser.canParse and pass in the line. Bool result equals that. And Rubber Mullet, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Result.should using fluent assertions. Do we want to start with true or false? We'll start with true. Should be true. All right, so here's what we're going to say. CanParse should return true given wait a minute. Did I mess up these names? Oh my god, I did. I messed up that name. I think that's wrong. Driver. Oh my god, I did mess it up. Yeah, that was almost a major goof on my part. Driver record. My bad. I almost messed that up. Whew. Oh, that would have been foolish. Acrylic Hercules, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Whew. Good thing I caught that. I was just like, hang on, wait a minute. Should return true given driver, record, parser, and data. So we're going to say you got both the parser and the data was a driver record. So let's jump over to program, and we're going to grab driver Brendan. That's going to be the code we're going to test with. Driver Brendan, right there. Unit test versus integration test. Renee, what do you mean unit test versus integration test? This is a unit test. You know what? I'm going to anchor this to that side over there. Alright, hang on 1 second, everyone. I need to click some buttons. And Coding Gorilla, if it makes you feel better, in the rock paper scissors game, can you show the whole file format? I don't know what you mean, Voight. A unit test won't catch the wrong identifier being used. The integration test data. Oh, the input file. Oh, this is the input right here. That's the whole thing. So this is the expected output, not commented, but that's the data. So it's these records and then these records. So can parse should now. I want to change this from a fact to a theory, and I'm going to give this some inline data. Someone probably figured out that I was going to do this because of the way I named that method, because I was really kind of loose with the naming. So we're going to call that line. So there we go. So that'll be Brendan and Sarah, and let's go grab a trip line. One of these. So there's a Sarah trip line. And there's a Brendan trip line. Okay, and the expected on this one is true. The expected on that one is true. False. False.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Let's see. But unit test adds a first opportunity to catch the error. Yes. Kizek, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. You know what? Let's split this into two tests because of the way I wrote this. Let's do that. We'll just use the nice naming for this. We'll do that. And then keep in mind I've got that on my clipboard. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hold control while I drag that text and it'll duplicate, because I want to adjust that data, and I want to say false. Turn false given driver record parser, and we'll say other data. So this one's be false. Let's run these tests and see what happens. So this should because I just wrote it, it just kind of works because I already wired it up because I was silly like that. I did the iRecord parser, as you'll recall. I just did the code for, which I shouldn't have, but I did. So really, I should maybe break it, but I don't feel like it. So I broke the rules. Don't kill me. So let's duplicate those lines again, and this time we'll say trip record parser and data, and should be false given trip record, parser, and other data. So let's switch the data. So there we go. Now you might so this then needs to be a trip record, and this needs to be a trip record. Let's see, does it work? Okay, cool. So my can parse theoretically probably works. Let's see, so can parse should drive record parser? Oh, that's the rename. To driver record parser. Let's hope I didn't mess that up everywhere. Yeah, that says driver. Okay. Tests for can parse. So there we go. All right. So we want to take a look at the driver record parser and actually take a look at the parse record. Now you might say, Brendan, why are you starting with the driver record parser instead of the trip record parser? Because this one's easier, and you always start with the easier test. Because if there's something wrong with this one, we can just fix it and make it work, and then we'll make it better for the next one. So this will be the driver record parser parse record should. Totally short name. Driver record parser parse record should. Someone is gonna shoot me for that, but that's fine. Please don't. I don't deserve it. It's not that evil, I promise. Fact. Public void. Do something. Given something. Do something, given something. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, we're going to add our using fluent assertions at the top because I'm going to. So we're going to make a new driver record parser. This one I'm not going to store as an iRecord parser. But I am still just going to call it parser. Parser, nope, not parser should, parse record, and it needs a line, which we'll give it in a moment. Var results, let's call this record, because that's what we're supposed to be getting back from it, I think. Record, should something or other? Record something, should something, those are my favorite tests, where they do something. Exactly. Have you had problems with culture info in Netcore 3, specifically around if you don't have the culture info installed? I have not run into those problems with it, but I have not really messed with that, so can't say that I won't run into that. Let's see. Let's do a simple test. It'll be the null object. So we'll say return empty, given invalid input. We'll do one of these just because it's a nice simple way to make the code work. Record dot empty. We'll make an empty record. No, not an XUnit record. Oh god. That's gonna be a problem. XUnit has a record. Oh. Okay, model's changing. This will be a drive record. Careful with that name. It is a drive record, not a driving record? Driving record? Driving record. driving record. That is what it's going to be called. Driving record. Okay. Driving record dot empty. There we go. Whew, that would have been a problem. We're going to make a public static empty object on it that is a driving record. Public static driving record. Static? Static? It'll just be an empty object. Hang on. People blew up here in chat. It hit us hard when Windows 10 was released and it was even more difficult. Just string, do you mean read-only span of characters? Miha, yes, I do mean a read-only span of characters. But yes, we're just gonna use a string for now. Yeah, Emer, you are correct. I could just rename it using a using statement. I think so. Emer, I think I'd like it to be the exact same object. It doesn't really matter. It's a null object. I want it to be able to match for all of them. So I think that'll work reasonably well. This isn't going to be multi-threaded, so I'm not worried about the complexity with that. But I think that'll handle it. And I'm just going to call it a driving record so I don't have to deal with it anymore, so that in case something else has the name record, because that was a fairly simple name. Naming things is hard, and other people have taken some of the names. So we're going to say, what if you just got driver? And there was no name. Then we'll come back with an empty record. Let's run this test, and it should fail. Did it run? Am I smoking something? Oh, no. Yeah, it's here. Sorry. Okay, so it failed as expected. That's correct. We wanted it to fail. We thought it would fail. It did. Because we got a not-implemented exception, because parse record is not implemented. Whoops. Okay. It probably doesn't matter whether it's the same record or not, to be honest. So how do we make this pass quickly? We return empty. Done. That'll pass now. What? Why don't you give me the option to run these? There it is. Hang on one second. No one wants to hear or see the guy with a cold blow his nose. That's not fun. No, it's called pair programming, Emer, and it's totally fine. So we returned back. We said it was going to be empty. It was. That's great. That is exactly what we want to do. So now that we've got that, we said, hey, empty, but we don't really want to do empty. What we want to do instead is we want to actually split this and make a real one. So we're going to say line.split, because why not? We're going to split on a space. And you know what? Just in case, we'll say string split options dot. Now the funny thing is, as I type out string split options, we did some programming exercises one time where we were working on a website. We might have been at Code Wars or something like that, doing one of our programming exercises streams, like 8 months ago or something like that. And the hilarity. What? Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Yes. Yeah, no, good call, Emer. You're totally correct. The hilarity was that string split options dot remove empty entries, which I was about to put in there, I pulled that out of my butt, and I was like, hey, I managed to get the right name for it. All right. What do we want to do? Return empty given invalid input. So, okay, let's talk about our data first. So, I spent some time thinking about this problem before we started it. And here's the thing. It defines who the drivers are as the first set of data and then says what trips they go on. Now, if the registered driver does not go on a trip, you just report back that they have 0 miles and you don't even bother with the miles per hour. If I sit here and I think, if there's a trip and there wasn't a person yet, we should probably... So, like, if you define a trip for Brendan, but we haven't said who Brendan is, I say we ignore that data. It seems like invalid data, and we should just ignore it. So, because of that, my thought is driver records need to be the first ones you see for any given person, and until you have their record, you don't bother storing any of their data. Because that's how we define who we want to keep track of. Now, there are other interpretations of that, but the instructions for this prompt did specifically say that you can make assumptions about things, just define what those assumptions are so that it's known that you took that assumption. So that's the assumption I'm going to make, is that we're going to receive all this data in the correct order every time, and it's never going to be out of order, which means that you always have to get your driver first, and then they can have a trip, and if you get one that's not, then ignore it. So that's what we're going to do. So what that tells me is that I want my record, so my driving record, to have a property on it, which I am going to be called, I am going to call it is registration. So, in the, and actually, let's make another property while we're here, because this is the other one we want to check. String name. And yes, I am going to define those without having a failing test yet, because these are going to be in the test. I'm going to check both that the string name was set, and if all you set was a name, then we are going to say name equals name. And let's put it in here. Bool is registration. Initialize is registration, so we will set those two values. And the empty record will be that and a false. Okay. So, registration record given. I'm gonna cheat. We're gonna say valid input. And I'll make this a theory instead of a fact, and I will put the input here. So we will say inline data, and I see someone saying something in chat. I'll be there in a sec. Hang on. So we're gonna say driver Brendan, and we're expecting the name on that to be Brendan, so we'll do it that way. We'll say string line, string name. So that'll be the line and the name, so this will be line, and record.name should be name, and record.isRegistration should be true. So there is what we're going to say about that. I'm going to run the test, and then we'll add another inline data record in there in a minute. Oh, no one said anything. It was just the stay hydrated bot. I was like, oh, someone's saying something. No, they didn't say anything. Expected record name to be Brendan. And what did we actually get? 0. Oh, man, it's like it didn't work. It's like we returned back the empty record no matter what. Oh, man, that's the worst. So, clearly, what we want to do is we want to say, we now want to do that code that I started writing before and should not have been writing yet. So we're going to say split on a space. So that's going to take our input is going to split it up into sections based on that. And I want to say string split options dot remove empty entries. So that'll split it apart. Yes, something Plutonin. They may say no, just rock paper scissors game. We're gonna say we're gonna add system link here at the top. Link. We're gonna say element at or default 1. So that'll be the second item. String name equals that. If string is null or white space, name, then return back the empty one like that. Otherwise, return a new driving record with name and true. And that is registration thing is going to matter a little bit more in the next test, because that's really going to matter for trip. For now, that's just kind of there, so we'll ignore that a little bit. Hey, J-Steph, long time no see and welcome. I think it's funny how I say long time no see and then I disappear. John Salinger, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. Alright, so that creates that record. Let's make another driver. We're going to say Mike is the next driver. Mike, welcome. And let's do Dan as well. So we're going to have driver Mike, Dan, and Brendan, and all of those should work just fine. So we should end up with a few passing tests as a result of those. And we do. This is that turned from a single entry into 3. So, hooray. So, it extracts out that piece. Greetings, yep. What do we want to do with this? Let's commit it. Let's see. So let's build the driver record parser. Tests. Sure, why not? Whoops. Okay, next thing. Let's make the trip record parser now. So we're going to jump down here. We're going to put in one of these and one of those and that. And we're going to call this trip record parser, because why not? What is that program you're using to view changes to the code? Oh, yeah, so that is GitHub Desktop. So that is official GitHub, like Git UI client. We use it here on the stream because I like how simple it is. So I could use Git Kraken, for example, or you know, many other GUI tools, or I could be on the command line. But I find that those are fairly confusing for beginners that either don't know them or don't know Git very well. So on the stream, I have taken the habit of using GitHub Desktop, which has a nice, simple, easy to use view for doing this work. So I like it. I think it's nice. Exactly. Looks fast and simple. Yes. Well said. Yep, that's the idea. We want it to be fast and simple. So void do something given something. So again, we're gonna make our basic test structure here. I'm gonna move this to its own file, and let's make this one do something. When does this one return empty? Because I want to do another return empty test, because that's easy. That's where I started my last one, and I want to do the same thing here. So we're going to say return empty. Given speed... no. Speed's going to be hard, because I got to calculate speed. I don't want to do that. Yeah, Surly Dev. So I use the command line mostly for everything, too. But that's partially because I came out of Mercurial, so I was also used to HG everything. Do I start with empty? No, we'll start with the basic case. We'll say return record given valid input. Which I know is a very generic name, but I don't have a better one right now, so instead of a fact, we're going to start with a theory, because this is not the simple case anymore. And what do we want to do? We're going to want to do some stuff for this. So we want string input, we want string name, we want string, we're defining the expected. I think minutes is going to be the easiest, because our time, if you take a look at our sample input, let me pull it up so you can see it. This is hours and minutes, so we're going to do number of minutes in there for our expected values, and then that is going to be our, that's our distance. So we'll call that miles. Actually, let's put this on its own line, because in order for you to be able to see it, I have to use large font sizes, and lots of windows are taking up space, so this has to be kind of pulled in. So we'll do decimal miles. Yes, I'm insane. I love decimals better. I like decimal better than double sometimes, because I like the control I get over it. So let's inline data, and we want to do a trip. Let's go steal one. Sarah, I'm borrowing your trip. Thank you. Okay, the name is Sarah. The minutes is 30. And the miles is 17.3. And I can just see that from that. Minutes should be an integer. Why did I write that as string? I was smoking something. Liquidor. So I don't have the project command turned on right now. I don't have one, but there is one right next to me. So we're just working on a little, I don't know, programming challenge right now that we're putting together. It definitely goes a little bit slow because I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking through what I'm doing and things like that. So you can write a lot faster if you're not doing all of this, but meh, where's the fun in that? Okay, so we want var parser equals new trip record parser. It's going to be that part. There's our parser, and we're going to say parser dot parse record input var result equals that, and result dot name should I don't have fluent assertions at the top. Using fluent assertions should be name. So there's the initial test. This would fail at this point, but I know I want to extract all those values, so I'm just going to put them all in here, and we can make that work. Coding challenge. What does it? Yeah, no. Yeah, Liquidor, you're right. I don't have the prompt up there. So we have a bit of sample input and some sample output, and you will see what that's got there. Yeah, Liquider. It's guess the challenge. You can get the code out faster if you aren't talking through it with someone. But that doesn't mean it's exactly, Surly Dev. That is correct. Yep. Yep. That is well said. Okay. So we want minutes and miles. What do we want to verify these against? Well, clearly this is going to be miles. This is going to be time, which means that instead of minutes, this is going to be a time span from minute. Time span, hello. Thank you. From minutes. Ah! There we go. And miles should be miles. So let's add those. So this is a simple file parser, is the short way of describing it. This receives some data as input and has to give some output. The domain is that these are drivers. This is the input. So we receive a list of drivers, or we receive a list of trips that those drivers have taken, and we need to compile some output based on those. So it's very simple. We could technically write this as like one line of C# code that would be really, really nasty and ugly and terrible. But we're supposed to design this as if it's like a more significant project than it is, and one that's going to change over time. So that's kind of why we're taking this different approach to it. From minutes, that's so we're gonna take a look at parse record. So I added these, but this, did it get them right? No, it didn't. So that's a time span. Time span. This is a decimal. That is a string name. We're gonna need a constructor on this, and that constructor is going to need a string name, a time span time, and a decimal miles. Right? I think that's what we should end up with if we're actually going to do that. Yeah, we'll go with that. So we will initialize with these. And this isn't doing anything yet, so let's run the test, see what happens with them. Okay, there we go. Do we want to add an additional test? Let's add one of the extra tests for now. We'll have a couple of tests failing. So where's our program? So we grabbed that Sarah line. Let's grab a Brendan line. Do that. This one's name is Brendan, and the amount of time was 15 minutes. And the distance was 42. Okay. Let's run those tests. Should fail. But we want it to fail for the correct reason. Perfect. Not an implemented exception. That sounds correct. So here is our trip record parser. Someone says, nope, that was my bot that said something. Not a person. My bot is not one of you. It's a lie. Okay, so we have identifier trip. Parse record. So first off, let's split up the record. And we will string split options dot remove empty. Whoops. Remove empty entries, like that. Okay, so that should get us an array of, we're going to explicit, so that's going to get us the quote pieces. So we're going to make a new driving record, and it is going to have pieces 1. Ooh, and some other stuff in it. You know what? I'm not big on that. Let's pull this out. This is gonna be nasty. So I'm just gonna do that for now, which is not correct. But what I'm gonna do is this. Give me a method. Create driving record. That did not do what I wanted to do. Return. Do I really want that to be static? Whatever. Okay, so we're gonna do that. That's how we get our record, because this is gonna have a little bit of complexity to it. Okay. Let's do this. Time is gonna be weird. Time is gonna be needing to get the variance. Having never coded. Oh, you've never coded in C#. Yeah, so probably looks a little weird if you've never coded in C# before. Let's say extract time. No. We're gonna say get time span from 2 strings. So we're gonna say pieces. It's the 0, 1, 2, and then the other one is going to be pieces 3. And this should get us a time span. So we're going to make that. So this is going to be a new method we're going to create. This is just going to be a little helper for us here. That'll be start time and end time. And Barnyard Man, welcome. Thanks for following. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. And anybody else that's in here, welcome. You know what? I want a helper. I want a better helper than this. I made extensions for that, right? Yeah, I made extensions. Here we go. Here's my helper. Public static time span. Parse time. This string text. Is that a crazy signature? I don't think that's a crazy signature. No one else thinks that's crazy, right? No one's telling me I'm crazy, so... oh, wait, this isn't a time span. Parse. We're going to do a parse exam. I'm going to assume the data that I'm getting is good. This has got to be coming from another program, so we're going to say at least that these are valid. Text. I need a string format. Culture info. I don't know. I never know what to do with those ones, so we're going to do that. We're going to say we're receiving it in hour, minute form. We know that. It looks like this, hour, minute. And it's 24-hour time, so capital H's. We'll parse that, so that'll be a parse time. So then in here, we're going to say... end time dot parse time minus start time, parse time. And that should get us the correct time frame now, so time value should be right. So we're gonna say, so that was name, and then we're gonna pass in time, and then the last thing is miles. So let's do this, and I want to check the test now and see where they fail. So we'll just check the test and see where it fails for now. Just because I don't want to get to date time. Oh yeah, I could to date time it. Yeah. Except I'm really parsing it, so it's not like I've got an object that has the data. I think if I had an object that had the data, I would probably to date time also. But yeah, it's just naming. I think you get what my parse is, but maybe I'll switch it. Liney. Whoops. Did I butcher something? Hang on. Oh yes. Oh my God. 3. Good catch. Good eye, Renee. Good eye. They should still fail, but I want them to fail for the correct reason now. Expected 15 minutes, but found 1 hour and 15 minutes. Ooh, that seems like I messed up when writing this. Yes, I messed up when writing this. That was not 15 minutes. That was 1 hour and 15 minutes. So that should have been 75. That was a messed up test expectation on my part. I goofed that. So both of these now have, you'll notice, expected result miles, which means they got here before they failed. So that means our time spans are correct. So we did that right. Now we just need to put in the actual miles. My mic is not muted, Darian. Shouldn't be muted. Other people have been responding to me, so if it's muted, I'm really surprised. Sounds like audio's on your end. And I think Renee mentioned that. I should say the sound issues, whatever it is. But I don't know. So we'll try parse this. Because why not? Okay, so we'll do an if decimal dot try parse pieces. What is it? It's the fourth one then, because it's the last one. Out decimal miles. Then we'll say, why don't I put this here and just return it? And we'll put miles in there. And otherwise, let's return back the empty one. Because something went wrong. So return back the empty one. So name, time, miles. Not bad. Awesome. Thank you for the confirmation that that my mic is definitely working. There we go. Nice. Things went green. Always happy about that. Hang on 1 second. Okay, let's see. So we did that. I think the next thing that we need to check on this is that the miles per hour thing restrictions work. Ed, I agree. Fluent assertions are fantastic. So this is adding simple trip record parsing implementation. So that ought to do that. And next thing I want to do is I want to do the miles per hour restrictions. So let's call that a theory as well. We'll do a new theory, and we're going to say public void. We're going to say return empty, because we want the empty record. So the reason why I'm making sure these return the empty record is because then in our other code that we can say if we got back the empty record, then we know that we're not supposed to do anything with it. So essentially we can use the null object pattern and say, hey, the null one, yeah, don't apply that one. Don't do anything with it. So we can basically have when. So my thought is inside of our like report stuff, we can be keeping track of drivers and things like that, and basically say, hey, I don't have a driver for that. Don't do anything with this, is kind of the idea. So because you got back empty, it'll basically just no op. We'll say given outside speed limits, which we'll say miles per hour. We'll give ourselves a decimal to work with, so we'll do inline data. And what did we say? We said 5 miles per hour, so I'm actually just going to check 4.99, and 100.01 probably works. So I'm just going to go with Nick. Welcome, Nick. Thanks for following. Much appreciated. If you don't like my nickname for you, just let me know, and I will tweak to something else. I'm guessing that's Nickney Mimyok, maybe? But I might have totally butchered that. But welcome. Thanks for following. Much appreciated. Where the watermelons grow. Yeah, we could easily have done this with kilometers per hour instead of miles per hour. Oh, I got it right. Oh, awesome. I saw it and I was like, oh man, I'm going to butcher that so bad. But I'm glad to know that I did not totally butcher it. So thank you for that. And but I'm still probably going to call you Nick because it's easier. I hope that's okay. Because I do have to say stuff on stream, so it's nicer if I can just speak it. So let's say var parser equals new trip record parser. I remember names of things. And then we're going to say parser dot parse record. We're going to do that. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat. I was going to do math, and then I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have to do math. I can just cheat. See? That's how you cheat right there. I want that to be a number. So please format that like a number, which means include the decimal places when you write it. Okay, so var record equals that. Whoa. I'm not sure what it was just doing there. Record should be whoops, no, it's a driving record, right? Driving record dot empty. There we go. Well, Nickney it is then. If that is not a nickname in your area, I'm good with saying the longer version. I do not want to use a nickname that people don't like. So, and I'm guessing it is Nickney, right? Would be like the full name part. If not, let me know, and I will try to get that right. I will do my best. So this is gonna fail. That test is not gonna pass. We're gonna get a red. In theory, if it runs, why isn't it running? run tests. Did I break something? Oh, okay, awesome. Nick, it is. That'll be easy then. Yeah, I just like to go with ones that are easy to say, because you gotta, like, if I'm gonna say hi to you when you're here, that's a nice easy one to just say. Why do you not want to open up window? Clean, rebuild. Untest. Yeah, we're trying to do some business logic, but for some reason our tests aren't running right now. Is that test what's breaking it, or is it... No, it's... They're just not running. Okay, I'm not sure why those tests aren't running, so... What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and open this in Explorer. And I'm going to open up a PowerShell window. And I'm just going to run .NET test from the command line. Okay, good. We got a not implemented in something. That's that test. Alright, that's fine. Is there an ignore? Just gonna put that there for now, so that it ignores it effectively. Oh, no, the other ones are passing. Okay, that's why that's the only one listed, yeah. Okay, so tests are passing. We'll bring that test back. We'll make it active again later. So let's add in this one, which this one we expect to fail. I don't know why Visual Studio just bombed on me and decided it didn't want to run tests anymore. We'll have to mess with that. But I can run it in the command line, and that's fine. So it expected to get that record, but what we got back was that record. So essentially it created this one and it was not supposed to, which is fine. It didn't actually do the check. That's what we expected. So, what we need to do then is we need to go into our, I want to go into our model object, that's the word I was looking for, and I want to actually check that we are within some speed limit. So first off, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say constant decimal max speed equals 100. Const decimal min speed equals 5. So we're going to have those. We have this record, and I want to say if record if within speed limit record, then return the record. Otherwise, return empty. And we'll make this a little method that just says return record.mph, which I know it doesn't exist yet, and we'll say if that is less than the max speed, and record mph is greater than the min speed, then we're within the speed limit. So now we just have to define mph. Generate variable mph? What's that even going to do? Let's find out what it did. Decimal with an internal set. No, that's not what it's going to be at all. Maybe. Can it equal those? That's a good question. Let me go read my instructions that I received on this. Discard any trips that have less than... You're correct. That is an allowable speed. Let's go with equals on that. So, we're allowed to have those speeds. So, yes. Whoops. Derp. Yeah. We are allowed to go exactly 5 and exactly 100. And those are still okay. So yes, we do want to write it that way. Yep, that was a fantastic question there. Very, very, very good question. So I want to define miles per hour as a getter. So let's do this. We're going to use an expression-bodied property here and say... yeah, we'll do an expression-bodied property still. I was going to say, since I'm going to have to multi-line it, maybe I won't, but no, we're going to do it this way. So return, first off, just so it compiles, return 0, so I stop getting the red squigglies. Is it really going to give it the red squigglies? No, it doesn't like me doing it this way. Okay, we'll do it this way. Whatever. Stop complaining, Visual Studio. Just let my code work. Okay, so here's the complexity. So we're gonna get some data in a bunch of minutes. We're gonna get minutes and hours. That's what we've got. We have a time span. So here's the challenge. We have time. Time can give us total hours. Total hours, which we need total hours in order to figure this out, right? So total hours is going to give us a double. Hours is going to give us an integer. But hours is not the total hours. This is going to be hours, and I'm going to have to add minutes. So what I'm going to do is this. Let's say total hours. We'll make my own total hours. Time.hours. Let's take our time.minutes divided by 60. So we'll take minutes divided by 60. We're going to add that to that. So that'll give us a result in decimal. So then we can say return total hours. Actually, it's going to be miles divided by total hours. Except that the challenge runs in if we somehow have 0 time. If we got a 0 record, I don't want to divide by 0. So let's do this. Total hours. Why did I do that? That's funny. This should just work, right? Minutes divided by 60. What am I smoking? I'm like writing C# here in strange ways. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little out of it. I've got a cold. If total hours greater than 0, then I want to say total hours, no, miles divided by total hours. or 0. So if you had 0 time, we're just going to say your miles per hour was 0 because we can't do infinite. Coding Gorilla, yeah, it'll always, sorry, Coding Gorilla, the instructions have actually pointed out, and I didn't put the instructions on there because I don't want people to know exactly, like, what company this is from or anything like that, but it actually says that it's going to use a 24-hour clock and assume that it never goes past midnight, so because the time will never span midnight, it can't ever be more than 24 hours. So we got that in our instructions. So, yep. We should be safe from that. But let's find out. Let's run our test. So, I think I got that right. We're about to find out when it runs. Because the test should check these values. And if I messed it up, we'll fix it. Hey! It passes. So, cool. So that means that's working. So that does what I think it does. I wasn't planning on it where the watermelons grow, but that doesn't mean we used to do programming exercises on this stream on a fairly regular basis, but I just haven't really lately. Whoops, why is that there? I don't want that there. You know what? Okay. That's that one. Trip record parser should, so it's tossing out records that are outside of those limits, so that's good. What else do we need to get here? We need our so that's done. Actually, before I forget, let me commit this and then we'll I'm not gonna commit that. So this will be add a speed limit check. Okay, the input parser. What is this? This does nothing yet. So this is the thing that uses those record parsers and runs them. So, for that, do we want to specifically test this piece? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking this is going to get tested overall with the rest of it, and with the full system test, and this one doesn't need its own test, because testing this apart from that seems like it would be pointless. I feel like this wouldn't add anything to test this one explicitly. But what I do want to do is test the report. I want to make sure the report gets handled correctly, I think. Because it will be special. Kitstead, welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. So let's do something with the report. Okay. The report, we're going to have it... You know what? Here, let's write it where it's going to get used. So it's going to get used here. So let's do this. We're going to say... var report equals... I can type new report. For each var line in... Whoops. String line in lines. Oh, what letters? Welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. And everyone else in the chat, greetings. Hopefully you're enjoying the stream today. This is a little bit abnormal for us. We're usually working on projects instead of like programming like exercises or challenges like this one. But yeah, I felt like doing this today. And this isn't actually a normal stream day for us. When my son's not home sick, unless I'm not, taking care of him instead of doing a stream, I usually stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But since I didn't stream on Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday this week, I did a Friday stream, so welcome. Renee, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. And especially for so long. Much appreciated. Record parsers dot single what? No. Using system dot link. Come on. Single or default. Ed, that's my deal. I missed today's stream because of school stuff. Streaming Monday instead. Yep, that's a good plan, Ed. That's how it goes. We miss streams sometimes. It happens. So if you can parse the line, parse it. And we'll just do parser dot question mark dot parse record line. So that would technically be null if it's... So we'll say either do that or put in the empty one. So if parser somehow came back as null, we didn't find one, then we'll leave it empty. So that's just a little bit of safety in C# there. And let's say report dot apply record, process record, add record, apply record, process record, process apply. I'm gonna say process. Yeah. Process record. It's a toss-up on what we should name that. So I want to add it to the report. So we're going to create that method that takes in that thing and does that stuff with it. And then at the end of this, we're going to return the report, which seems sensible to me. Okay, so we haven't actually done anything with this. We need to make a test for it. Where does it live? It lives in the model, so we're going to do a model test. That's fun. So that'll be core and folder model. I can't type. A model for the folder of a report tests. And a class that we're going to call, what did I call it? Process record. Process record should public. And we're going to make a fact using xunit. I'm going to say public void do something and given something. Okay, what's it going to do given what? Oh man, that name is awesome. Oi, oi, oi. Welcome. Thanks for that follow. Much appreciated. See, there's oi, oi, oi. Okay, so... let's say, I want to use the term record, but record and record are spelled the same way in English, so I can't say it. I can't say record a record. So we're going to say keep the record. Instead of record record, we're going to say keep record. Given is registration. Okay, so remember how we have drivers and we have trips as two separate things. The drivers, we said we're going to save and initialize a driver from that, and then we're gonna, actually deal with it. So let's go ahead and create those. So we're gonna have a var report equals new report. Report. Which, yes, simple model, it's just a programming exercise. Var record equals new driving record. And we said it was a registration one, so this will be Ed. Congratulations, Ed! You made it into the test data! That's an achievement right there. Report. Process. What? Wait, what? What? Didn't I add that to... Oh! Internal. Derp. Ed, that's totally true. The 2 letters is so awesome for that. By the way, Ed, have you ever run into a form that won't accept your name because Ed is too short? And it's like, 2 letters, what? I used to have a coworker named Ed that would complain about that. Every once in a while he'd hit a form on a website that would complain because he'd put in his name as Ed, and he was really an Ed, not like an Edward. And so he's like Ed, and it's like, it's like, my name's, yes, 2-character last names are definitely worse because it really doesn't accept that, and it really isn't short for anything. You know, it's like, no, my name is Lee, L-I, like, that's, like, there's no more letters. What do you want from me? The other one that I get is, so I don't actually go by my first name, but my first name exceeds the length of most forms as well. Oh, let's see. Records. Should be contain single. Is this the one that I want? Yeah, contain single. Actually, you know what? I'm just well, I guess I could do that. Report dot records single, and let it blow up. Let it hit that first and give a good error, and then this one it would blow up because there wasn't one. And then we would say single name should be Ed. And now let's highlight that. Tell it to extract a constant for all local constant for all occurrences of Ed. What? I think I clicked single instead of all. There we go. That'll be name. Okay, so this will confirm that that it keeps that record if it has it, which right now, again, this should fail. We're going to build that and then run it. True story, went to the doctor with a sore throat. The doctor said there was a person just in with the last name Ed, Mr. Ed, to which I replied, I bet he was a little hoarse too. Ah! Oh man, I hope they kicked you out right on the spot. They're like, nope, nope. Alright, so we got a method not implemented, no surprise. We didn't implement it, so that looks great. So it's running the correct code. So here's what we want to do. We want to do some fun stuff with this. Yes, dad jokes are the best. So first thing, we're gonna put in a little wait, there's dad jokes, and then there's that joke. Yes, thank you, Spartan. Also, Spartan, long time no see, welcome back. Glad to see you're here. Okay, so we said only if it's a registration one are we actually supposed to do that. But since I didn't actually write that one, we're not going to worry about it. So we're just going to do this for now. So we're just going to say records, add record, because that's the fastest way to make this test pass. So yeah. Although actually I kind of want to change the way I'm doing this. Yeah, we're going to do this differently. Private... Dictionary string... Rhyming record... We're gonna make this a dictionary of these. What? Wait, what? What? Wait, what? 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 Oh, I missed the comma. I'm like, what's that freaking out about? So we're gonna put it in there, and we're gonna use record.name as the key. And this is not gonna be this. This is going to be just a pass through to records.values, and I'm gonna put the order by on here because I'm crazy. Order by descending. Which one is it? Hang on, I need to look at our results. We are ordered by miles. So and we'll to-list it. Okay, so if someone asks for the records, we're just going to give them all the values and put them in the order that we expect. So, records, add, record name, record. So that will make this test pass, but it is certainly not done because that is absolutely wrong in just about every way we could make that wrong. But that's fine, because that's just the initial version of this. Problems! Hey, long time no see, welcome back! Things are going well. We are working on this little coding challenge here. Hey, tests are passing. Excellent. So that means we need to make another test. Which we'll copy pasta this. Okay. Glad you could make it. Problems? Haven't seen you in a while. How are things? I guess the haven't seen you in a while is probably because I didn't stream for a little while. So we said given is registration, so we'll say do nothing. Given non-registration. Which means that we want to change this so it's not a registration record. So first off, we don't care about the name anymore. Should be empty. Record should be empty. This, we don't want to use this constructor. We want to use the other one, because the other one doesn't even set that. It can't even be that. So... let's say, we'll do Simon. There we go. Simon's the name. Whoops. Timespan dot... Zero and 0M. Problems. We are working on a little coding challenge here. So basically what we were given for this coding challenge is a set of instructions, and I haven't really put the instructions up on the stream. However, I have... Did I leave that running or something? Did I leave that running somewhere? What? Okay, well, while I mess with that, Hang on 1 second, I'm just gonna restart. One sec. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's doing, but let's hope that whatever process was holding that was Visual Studio, and it's done now. And we'll try running the tests all normal-like, instead of having to run it over there. Visual Studio, what are you doing? Why are you locking my file? Right. So, Visual Studio doesn't want to let me have my files right now. So, yeah. Let's try this. We'll try the command line build again and see what happens. Same problem? I'm not sure what the heck it's doing. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's like it doesn't want to build. Visual Studio suddenly doesn't want to build. It says it's being used by another process. Alright, well. I guess then hang on a second while I mess with everything. I'm gonna go and like restart all the things. So I guess I'll do I have a what is, no, that's pair discussion. Well, actually, what's my pair discussion look like right now? Well, that's not bad. There we go. We'll just hang out on this screen for a minute while I restart all the things. Alright, restart all the codes. Restarting everything. Restarting all of the codes. So I'm even going to restart my bot, just because I don't know what is holding on to what. Do I have... Nope, I don't have IS running anymore because I closed that. So let's start off by opening back up my preview. So we're going to open back up the project. And I'm going to try building it first, and then if it works, I'm going to open up all my other projects. As long as that successfully builds, I'll open up all the other projects, we'll call it good, and continue on from there. So just give me a second, because I want to get them all started and running once this passes. What is going on? Okay, well it is reporting the process that's causing a problem, so I'm actually just going to kill net core host processes. And welcome people from whichever stream just rated us or hosted us. Nick Larson, welcome Nick Larson and friends. We're glad to have you here. I am currently fighting with .NET, which for some reason has a background process that is not letting go of things and making it so I can't build. Hooray! It's working again! I'm going to reopen all of the stuff so that everybody can see again. Nick, welcome. Happy Friday. Welcome, everyone. Just give me a second while I get things going here. Let me shrink that out of the way. The bot should be coming up here in a second. I was just restarting all my stuff because Visual Studio did some weird stuff and wasn't letting me compile, so no compiling means restart all of your things. Welcome everyone. So my name is Brendan. This channel here is DevChatter. Hopefully I gave you all enough time for all the raiders to get in here. Let me go ahead and get my bot up and running, and I will gladly welcome you all the correct way. We're just in the middle of a quick restart here. We are working on a side project today. A side project means just like a one-off little project. We have a coding challenge that someone sent me. I was talking with a company. They wanted to work with me, and I was like, and they were like, yeah, we give this to everybody, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And it's funny because I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna do that on stream because I think that'd be hilarious. And a bunch of people were like, wait, like, can't you just send them to your, 500 plus hours of live streaming and be like, here, look, that's how I code? And the short answer is yes, I probably could have done that, but I thought it then was more fun to just do their little side project here on the stream, so hey, cool. Alright, the bot is back in here. Let's go ahead and jump back into our code, so that will be here. So that should be our code up and running, and since we just reconnected that, welcome everyone from Nick's stream. Wait, what? Hang on. Try that again. There we go. Welcome everyone from Nick's stream. I don't know why that didn't load correctly, but hey, our overlay's going. So, welcome to DevChatter. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday. We don't usually stream on Fridays here, but hey, why not? Alright. Run the tests. Okay. Put them over on the side. Which test is failing? That one. Do nothing given non-registration. Yep, okay, cool. So let's take a look at the code. Nick, if you're still here, what were you working on today? I didn't stop by your stream. I was hosting you right before I started, but I didn't see what the stream was about. Okay. Fixture Jake, welcome back. It's going pretty well. We have made a lot of good progress on this, and we're actually getting pretty darn close to being done with it. So first things first, I want to say if record.is registration, and I want to see what I have some text messages. I just want to confirm what they are. Holy cow. Okay. They are from family, but I don't think any of them matter. It looks like questions that I don't need to answer. So that's good. Gonna ignore them for now. Which is funny, because one of those people that texted me is sometimes here in the stream, so... Alright, so we're gonna do that. If the record is a registration, add it. If it's not, we won't. So... that means this test should now... Whoops, that keyboard shortcut doesn't work here, Brendan. Do I need to build first? I think... let's hope it built. Happy Friday. What are we trying to build here? Herring. So, essentially, for this project, we were given a little input file, which I will show on stream. Twitchloff, yes, Friday stream today. So, we were given, this is the sample input, so we're going to receive a set of drivers, so line at a time, data, and then trips that those drivers have taken with a start time, an end time, and a number of miles driven. We then need to print out the output of the person's name, the total miles they drove, and what their average speed was. And we are ignoring... so first off, we're ignoring the miles per hour if they didn't go anywhere. So there were no trips by Michael, so Michael gets 0 miles and no miles per hour. And these are sorted by the miles number. And we are building it as if it were a larger project than this, because this obviously is a small little sample, so we're doing it a little bit more complex than what this would otherwise merit, only because expected. But we found the Simon record. I'm gonna build again just to make sure that really did it, because I'm not confident that this actually built and ran a new set of that data. There we go. No problem, Herring. Glad I could answer that question. It should make it much easier for you to understand what we're doing. Okay, so next thing that we want to do. So we said if it is a registration, add it. If it's not, don't add it. We also want to ignore the empty record just regardless. But I guess the empty record is a no registration, so it should get handled by this. Because the empty record should definitely not be a registration, so we should ignore it. But maybe we should put the safety in there just to be sure. I don't know. Okay, so the last thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that it adds to existing records when we have them. So that's why we did it as a dictionary. So we'll say, well, we'll use the words I used. Adds to existing records. Should add to existing record given new trip plural. We'll do multiple. Okay, so the first thing we need is a driving record. So we'll do oh, who's in chat? Nick joined us recently. Nick rated us. We're gonna go with Nick. Congratulations, Nick! You made it into the sample code. And we'll say time span time span words from minutes 60. So we'll go an hour.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
An hour is just gonna make the math easy for us, I think. Actually, ooh, why are we doing that? No, let's not. Let's not. I don't know. 12 miles. 20. How fast do we want to go? 35 miles an hour? We'll go 35 miles an hour. There we go. So there's our record of that type. So we'll call this. This is our trip record, which I'm actually just going to call a trip because it's easier. We'll call this our registration. New driving record, and this is going to be Nick and true. So we're going to create his record this way. So that's going to be that, and it's going to be reporting that. These need to be values. Okay. We're going crazy today. So I had fun doing this because I made people's eyes bleed before. So we're going to do this again because it's hilarious. So we'll do name, time, and miles equals Nick. Time is time span dot from. Let's do from hours. Who am I kidding? If we're doing an hour, and then 35M. So then these become name. So that's name and name. and this is time, miles. Okay, so now I want to process. We're going to start by processing the registration, and then I'm going to process 2 identical trips. And that's going to be our test, is we're going to do that. So now I want to assert a couple of values on this, which that is going to be... let's say... port.records. We're going to say single. There's only going to be one, because we only registered one, so there should be one. And we'll say result.name should be name. We're going to duplicate that, because we're going to say, the second thing we did was time, and I'm going to talk to whomever that was that followed recently. Thank you very much for the follow, by the way. I just want to make sure that I don't lose my train of thought here. Is the challenge with doing live coding, is we lose our train of thought super easily. S. Gillen, thank you very much for the follow, much appreciated. And Chen Su, welcome. Thank you both for those follows, always appreciated. Welcome to DevChatter. Glad you're enjoying the streams. Hopefully you will join us for our next one as well. Okay, we're going to build this. I'm going to tell it to... what? Come on. Run... whoops, not debug tests. I did not mean to debug the tests. That was a mistake. Don't do that. Stop! Stop! Stop debugging! Run tests. Okay, cool. So add to existing records did not do anything because when we ran this, it expected 1 hour, but it found the default time because it did not actually apply them. It didn't do anything. What it did was it added in the registration record, and then when the trip record happened, it just kind of probably bombed or something. I don't know. But it clearly wasn't going to work because we didn't write the code that actually does that. So that's good. Oh, because it wasn't a registration record, so we ignored them. So we're going to say else if record... no, we're gonna say records. We're gonna say records. Do we want to check for them? We'll do this. We'll do a try get value. We'll do a record name. Say out driving record. We can't use that one, so this is existing. For our existing record, I'm missing a paren. Oops. Like, why did my curly mess up? Existing. Now we need to add something special to this. So we'll add a trip. We'll add a trip. So we'll say existing.addTrip. Driving record. Okay. And I know it's making it internal because it can be internal, but I'm just going to make it public just in case, because someone else might want to use it at some point. And you know what we're going to do with this? We're going to do this the easy way. We're going to say time plus equals record.time. Miles plus equals record.miles. Now let's go back to our test. Process record should, name should be time, and that should be time times 2, and miles times 2, because I ran it twice. Don't want to mess that up. I mean, we would notice immediately because the test, like if you mess up your test and you mess up your code, unless you mess them up both in the same way, you're gonna notice the problem. So it's pretty easy to catch. So that actually looks like it worked. Holy cow! Hey, I think that's there. That's pretty much there. Nice. Alrighty. Where do we want to go with this? Yeah. Let's jump up a level. So the input parser seems to do all its work and returns back that. That does its work. What does the tracker do? It runs all that and does all those. Run all the tests. Hang on, let's see how close this is. Does that work? Does the full system test work? Oh man, does the full... Oh, no, wait, hang on. The full system test didn't run. Okay, good. Now I was gonna say, like, I didn't think that would work yet. I thought we'd skipped a step, because I didn't think I actually put in the thing that checked the file. I didn't think we'd actually read the file, but maybe we did. Expected it to be that, but found an empty collection. Yep, there you go. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, so let's have a look. So when we run this, let's see what we're doing. So we come in, we grab the file name, which we're passing in our test. We say it exists. We say we read all lines. We take all those lines, we pass them. You know what? Here, let's step through. Let's debug that one. We're gonna take a look. Why not? Is it debugging? Are you not gonna debug this? There it goes.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
I am gonna guess Ryakhovskiy? Hopefully, maybe. Welcome, thanks for that follow, much appreciated. If I just butchered your name, I apologize. Let me know and I'll try to say it better. It happens. A couple of things I want to mention to anybody that's in here and is new. First off, for some reason my bot's not running, so that's a thing. Looks like it is running, but it just lost its connection to Twitch. So I'll go ahead and give it a minute and then restart it. But if you do check down below, you can find links to all the things I mentioned. First off, welcome. My name is Brendan. We do a lot of open source stuff here on the stream, so you can find links to all of our projects down below in our GitHub link at github.com/devchatter. And we also have links to our Discord down there, so you can find information about that. If you are interested in chatting with me or any of the other DevChatter viewers, you can find stuff from us there. Did this get us all the lines? Okay, so that got us all the lines. We're gonna go into our... Yeah, that's fine. You can keep notifying me about that. We're gonna go in here. Did I wire up the parser? I didn't wire up any parsers! Hey, because it was a params and I didn't do it. We know why this is failing. Hey. Nice. Okay, so... Program, tracker, input parser, new. Drive record parser, and new... Trip record parser. And just an initialization problem. Introduce a local input parser. That's fantastic. There we go. If that was literally the only problem. Problems. Did I finish the bot? So we worked on that bot like last year for the most part. I would say the bot's never really done because there's always new stuff we want to add to it, new cool things we want to do with it. But we've made a lot of progress on the bot. It does a lot of cool things. So first off, the bot is here, so I can put links to that Discord I mentioned, that GitHub I mentioned, then YouTube and Twitter links as well. And in addition, because it's back in here, I can do fun stuff like, first off, hang on, apologize for this. I can do that. I want to refresh the page just to make sure that it actually gets that. Hey, we can blast hype emotes and stuff in there. Okay, so let's run that full system test one more time and just see if it works before we debug it again. Because we've wired it, we realized we hadn't actually wired it up. So let's see if it fails for the same reason. It came back as empty before because it couldn't parse any of the lines. But we've now given it, we've injected it, we essentially added the dependency injection part, which for now we did it the poor man's way and just put it straight in there. What is going on? Why is it failing? What are you doing, thing? What are you doing? I'm not sure what it's doing. Yeah, so we've got we're running on Visual Studio Preview, so sometimes some things are failing. This is a brand new test explorer here. They changed up how it works, so I don't know if that's the cause of the issues we've had running our tests today, because this is the fancy pants new one that they just announced like a day or two ago. Let me try building from the command line. Okay. So .NET test. So I just built from the command line, and now I'm going to test from the command line, and we're going to see if it gives us what we expect. So we got an empty collection. Okay. That's weird. Maybe we didn't actually print. Maybe we didn't print. Process all input. No, we console write line it right there. For each thing we get back from the thing. Oh, what did we say it returns back? A report? Report. Full system test. Debug the test. Let's find out what it does. You gonna run this time thing? Debug? No, it really just doesn't want to go. Let's kill the test explorer again. Man, I tell ya, this thing has just been really wonky today. That test explorer just does not want to play friendly. Yeah, it just doesn't like running. Huh. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll do this then. I'm gonna drop that there. We're gonna say run this, and then I am gonna say no, because I don't have access to the fakes. I can't even do that. Okay, so let's go to properties. Debug. The arguments we're going to pass in is going to be, well, let's just say test input.txt. So that'll be our application argument there, which means I need to create that file. Add a new item that we'll call, is there a txt file in here? Nope. So add in a new item, doesn't really matter what it is, and we'll call it test input.txt. It's going to come in with a class thing, but that's fine. So this will be our input. We'll put it over here. So there's our test input. And let's give it the action of copy if newer, and that is going to make sure that it's always deployed so that when the code's running it has access to it. So we're telling it that it should access that file. Alright, let's try running it. Oh, hey, cool. So it printed out and tried to print 3 driving records, which I didn't write the toStrings for them, so that's good. That means it worked. Okay. Where did I do that? That is... Send the tracker right here. Let's do this. Print record. We'll just do that. Print record. Generate a method called print record. It's going to do that. And then this is going to be set a record toString. This is going to be one of these with a one of these. And I think that should probably work. So what's our output? It is... We'll grab this. So we're going to do that. And this is the part that we cut out, right? Right after the word miles? Yeah. So we'll call this the MPH part. String MPH part, because this is optional. It's going to be one of these as well, and it's going to be that. And then this is going to be the name, so record.name. Record.miles. And then this part, this is the challenging part. So this one is going to be if record.miles is greater than 0, then we're going to do this. Otherwise, this is an empty string. So that'll remove it for the time when it's not, when we don't have any miles. So if they haven't driven anywhere, we want to hide that part. So then this needs to be the MPH. So that makes this record.mph. Okay, we still have a challenge here, and that is that we're not rounding it correctly. Because those results and the instructions that I received actually did mention that I do need to round these values, so yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, so see, rounding. We're supposed to have ints on the display, not a decimal. So let's convert from our decimals to our ints, and actually, you know what? Hang on, I wanna change this. So let's do string name int miles and int mph. So we're gonna do that. Miles, name, mph. So we're gonna say .name, record.miles, record.mph, and now we have a type issue that we have to deal with. So let's do my favorite thing for this kind of stuff and make an extension. Public static int, let's say round to int. This decimal, decimal? I'll just say number. It's gonna be the only one. Anything going on in chat? Just people playing rock, paper, scissors. Nice. Okay. So, we want to cast this to an int, but first we want to round it. So we're going to do math.round number, and we're going to round away from 0. And cast this to an int. And that should in theory, do what we need it to. So we made a static extension method, so on any decimal we can now say .round to int and do that. So we're going to say .round to int. And if I did anything crazy, feel free to chime in and yell at me, but it seems like it'll work. Let's run it and find out. Well, hey there, buddy. What were the expected results? We'll put them next to it. So, Brendan, 42 miles at 34 miles per hour. Sarah at 39 miles at 47 miles per hour. And Michael, 0 miles. Hey, hey! So, looks like it works. Let's see if those tests will run now, because they were messing up before and I didn't want to fix them, but I was pretty sure we were close. But it looks like we are. So yeah, let me open this in Explorer. I'm going to open this up in PowerShell and just go into the unit test folder rather than telling it the project file, and we're going to say .NET test. Let's find out. Do all the tests pass, including our full system test? No, our full system test doesn't pass, so our full system test is apparently not wired up correctly. So what did we do? Did we skip something? When we set up our fakes, we gave it the sample input, right? Oh god! Oh, jeez! No wonder this failed. That is hilarious. Oh man, it could not process any of those. Wraith, for some reason they're not running. So I should mention, I'm running the preview build of Visual Studio, and just like a couple of days ago, they released a new version of the preview that entirely redoes the Test Explorer, and I think that's what's failing, Wraith. So, not sure why. So earlier in the stream, it was messing up before as well, and I had to restart all of my instances of Visual Studio, and then even after that, I had to kill some processes in Windows just to get the test to run. It was one of those, like, are you freaking kidding me kind of moments. Oh, so what did this come back with? So, wait, M. What? Who's M? Why did we get M? What? M 0 miles? What? Expected it to be that. Make files, read all lines. Is that split on the new line? And then that exists return. Well, we'll try it again. See if this will run it again. Yeah, it's not even offering to run them this time. That is hilarious. Oh, yeah, it's because it's still trying. See, that is hilarious. It's like it can't figure out what to do. See, it doesn't know how to run, so these are totally borked. So, thanks, Test Explorer. Couple of bugs with the new one. That's why it's in the preview and not the actual release version of this. Happens. Well, welcome to the dev world. So, make files, set up fakes. Oh, right. So we'll do that, because it's actually a little bit nicer way to read that. Instead of doing that, so we'll do an object initializer. We assign those values there, we return them. So this is the console. We don't read anything in the console, we just write it, and we're expecting the written lines should equal that. You know what, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I know it's not pretty, but I want to be able to see this. We'll do .I should be expected output I. I'm gonna do that just because I do want to see that I want to see the actual difference on these if I can, and it doesn't seem to be showing me any other way. I'm not sure how to get Test Explorer to flush. If I knew how, I would love to be able to do that. Maybe that's the problem? Because it's trying to keep it running? No, because it should give me a new object every time, Wraith. It should give me a new object every time. So what did it say? So what did this do? This says expected I to be Brendan 42 with a length of 26. Has a length of 15 and differs near Sarah. Why did we print Sarah first? Did I change this data? Something? Nope. Sarah went 39 miles, Brendan went 42. Brendan should be listed first. So we expected written lines 0 to be Brendan, but instead it had Sarah? Okay, I'm gonna restart this again, because I want these tests to actually run in Visual Studio. Like they're supposed to. I think this may have run in Visual Studio again. I mean, it's getting wonky here, but I think it's kinda working. Hey, Digital Drummer! Greetings! Haven't talked to you since Twitter this morning. Hope you're doing well. I am battling with the new test runner in Visual Studio 2019 Preview. It has been giving us troubles all day, which I know it's nice. I know it's nice and new. It's got some fancy stuff, but oh man, is it getting annoying with just times it's failing right now. Kind of irritating. Why is I'm not sure why my green screen is messing up today. I thought my lighting was fine, but maybe there's something weird with it. Either way, I restarted Visual Studio and it's fine again. So file name, we're saying it exists because we lied. Our lines should be... Oh, we have the R in there also. That's the problem. Found the problem. I'm sure that's the problem. Okay, so... We'll just do one of those and see if that gets it. That should not break any of our existing tests, but should just fix it for this. That was literally the problem. We needed to trim the end. There we go. We just had to trim it a little bit. I battled with it. It wasn't picking up new tests. Yeah, so it wasn't picking up new tests. It's not updating existing tests. I also ran into a problem where it did not let go of my test DLL, and so I couldn't build anymore. And so I actually had to kill its background process in Task Manager, and like, I closed down Visual Studio, and I'm like, it's still not working. And I go open up Task Manager, I'm like, there's a .NET host still running. Let's kill that. And then it worked again. I was like, okay, cool. Thanks, test runner. Well, hey, I call that a victory right there. So this is... this is finishing up that test. So this is so that's done. I call that a victory. It's good. Obviously we need to do a bunch of code cleanup, nice some things up, do some renaming and other stuff, but hey, program works, does what it's supposed to do. So it receives the input from this file, and when we run it, we have it wired up to take that file. It gives us this output, which is the output that we said we were supposed to get. So at least for the simple case, it seems to do just fine. We can obviously go into this file and add in some new stuff. So we could say like trip Brendan, let's say you know, from we'll say 0230 to we'll say I started at 2 in the morning and I drove until 8:30. And how long is that? That's 6 hours. So 6 hours at 60 miles an hour would be like 360 miles. So we'll say 360.1 miles. And actually, let's give that time to Michael. So Michael should be going about 60 miles an hour. Derp, valid data. So there we go. Michael drove 360 miles at 60 miles per hour. Hooray! Benari May, welcome. Thanks for that follow, much appreciated. And if I just butchered your name, I apologize. Please tell me if I did. Even if, and that actually goes for anyone. If I've been butchering your name for weeks or months or however long, please let me know, and I will try to say it better, I promise. I mean, I can't promise that I'm going to say it better, but I promise I'm going to try. So, cool. That code works. Our test input works. I'm going to call that one good. I want to make sure that I thank everybody for hanging out with me today. We are going to be streaming again tomorrow unless something comes up and I can't. One thing that could come up is the temperature could be absolutely insane and it could feel like, you know, I don't know, some place where humans shouldn't live. But other than that, I do want to make sure that I mention to everyone that is in here that there's a lot more to DevChatter than just our stream. So DevChatter is a fantastic community of developers. We have really, really amazing people that are here most of them are in our Discord. So if you want to chat with me or anybody else that is interested in tech and is excited about it as I am and as you are, take a look at our Discord. It's an awesome place full of people that are excited about all kinds of fun stuff. In addition to that, this project is out on our GitHub, and so are many other projects that we've worked on stream. If you want to contribute to any of our projects, not this one, but one of our other ones, you can find those at github.com/devchatter. You're welcome to take a look, send us a pull request. One of our main projects that we've been working on is actually a community website where hopefully we're going to make it so you can be able to get information about other live coding streams. So if you want to view live coding streams and you don't know what's on because, hey, they're not live right now, we want to make sure that you can find those streams. And if you are a streamer, we want to make sure that your audience can find you. So essentially connecting people together, just a temporary intermediary there because Twitch does not actually supply that kind of information for us. So we figured, hey, we'll build it, make it better. Lastly, if you want to see any of our videos from the past, you can find a lot of them here in the video section on Twitch. That'll get you our recent videos. But if you want to see our archives going back to the beginning, you'll notice that we are on episode 197 today? 197? That sounds right. We're on episode 197 of DevChatter. We've been around for a while. You can find all the archives of our videos over on YouTube. They're broken out into playlists, so if you want to see like the different projects we've worked on, you can find them there, and that is a great way to watch them because ideally they should be in order, but there's no guarantee of that. Luckily, there's an episode number. And lastly, I will toss a link to my Twitter as well as the DevChatter Twitter. Notice for the DevChatter one, there's an underscore on the end of that because I was not able to get the name there. The DevChatter one is mostly just retweets of announcements about the stream that I put out on mine. But again, if you just want DevChatter stuff, that's a great one there. Lastly, if you are someone that has not clicked that follow button, be sure to do so because that is the best way to get notified when we go live. For anyone that watches the stream regularly, you know that at least when stuff doesn't come up, our usual schedule here is Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. We try to do streams. Varies the length, but a lot of good stuff that we try to do here. Who is streaming today and needs a good raid? I think Rambling Geek does. So I want to make sure that I ask everybody to hang out today and don't go anywhere because we are going to raid the Rambling Geek. And I'm sure he's going to be excited about that. Hopefully he's not about to sign off. Why does he have weird stuff? So hang on a second. So I'm going to roll my credits. We'll be back again tomorrow, everyone. So hopefully stick around. If you are going to stick around, at least go ahead and say hi over in the Rambling Geek stream when we enter over there. So I want to make sure I thank our moderators. S&B was here earlier. And everyone that was awesome and followed us today, thank you for all of these awesome people that followed us. I think I said thank you to every one of them when they actually followed. But thanks again, everyone. Always appreciate the follows. Lots of love here in the channel, and it is greatly appreciated. I want to make sure that I thank Fixter Jake, Parisian, Paramedic, and TwitchMK for the resubs. One of those was a sub. I think it might have been Parisian. But either way, I want to thank everybody for hanging out today. It was an awesome stream. I really enjoyed coding with all of you, and I will see you tomorrow. So take care, happy coding, and enjoy your weekend.